you doing today? Gonna hang out with Carlos and Patrick. See what kind of shenanigans we talk about today. Do some researching. Play some risks. Probably play Rawhalla because I'm with the homies. That'd be my guess.
Studied the what's up, yeah.
What's happening?
Yo,
Yeah, he studied all the ways to manipulate people in human psychology and then used it for advertising.
okay,
Very
so how
modern
can you
advertising.
use that in a good way? Because this is what you need to focus on. When you're looking at a singular piece of information, you have the spectrum, right? The spectrum is extremely rigid, extremely fluid, good, bad. Now, within that spectrum of good and bad, there's also another spectrum of what determine if this good is becoming bad or not, right? So it's a spectrum within a spectrum. So when you're looking at that dynamic where you said, "Oh, I disagree," what I was doing is I was actually testing you. What I did is I gave the opposite response of what you usually give. So when you take those two together, it creates a singularity. So what is that singularity? What are we looking for? Where does
Well,
my
back up.
negative?
You
Where
were
does
testing
my
me.
thought?
Are you sure
Yeah,
that you were testing me, or is this what you're saying now that
I'm
we're
telling
talking
you.
about it?
I'm telling you exactly what I did. It's an
Okay, well, don't
intellectual.
test
It's
me.
an
You can,
intellectual. No, look, I'm
I
not. I'm
don't
not.
appreciate
I'm not. Okay, so don't take it as something negative because it's not. What we're doing is we're debating. If we agree on something, right? Which I agree with what you're saying, but if me and you are having a conversation and nobody's bringing in the opposite factor, well, how can this conversation be progressive? It doesn't. So what I'm doing is I'm bringing the information in.
well with the
So
emotional resonance and the respect and
exactly.
all that we were
Yep.
talking about before, which means you
So
don't test people. But I guess that there are times when it's appropriate to do so. Um, yeah. Well, it's definitely a lot. While we're talking about this book I read, The Diagnostic Default,
Okay.
something I've been working on the past 4 years or so.
This is your book or the one
It's
you just
been a
read?
help. Yeah, it's my book.
Okay.
It's about 400 pages full. It's on psychology
Mm-hmm.
and philosophy of mind and politics of psychology. Like his actual. It's been a long project, and it's one of those things I can't get away from it, and I can never complete it because I just keep finding more problems to add to it.
That's kind of the crux of being a writer because you never think it's perfect. I hear the same thing with people who are like musicians and artists. They're always like, "Man, every time I get done with the song, I'm like, that song fucking sucks," and everyone's like, "Dude, that's like the greatest song ever." You're like, "I could have done better," This like because there's always that back of your head like I didn't perfect it, even though you probably did. It's hard to come to grips with that.
That's exactly how I am with music. I used to write songs in Ableton Live with 60 tracks and 10 to 20 effects on each track, and I'd spend all day, every day, trying to make the songs sound the way I want them to. Although it's not so much perfection. I just keep having ideas and keep wanting to get ideas out. But it's the same with the book. I gotta get it more organized. I think. I'm gonna open the chat. Uh, open the chat.
How long you been writing this book for? Like 2 years, 3 years, 4 years?
I should erase.
What?
I said, how long you been
Why should
writing this
they
book for?
erase?
How long have I been writing it?
Yep.
Since 2021, 2022.
Okay, so they have 4 years.
About 3.5 years, I think.
Yep.
I think closer to 3. I was working on more philosophy books before then, and philosophy and ethics.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, but they all kind of like stream to each other. That's what I always like you're saying with like it's like politics, it's philosophy, it's psychology, it's all these things are very intertwined. They all kind of influence each other's thought process or beliefs.
here it is. Yeah, it's called The Diagnostic Default, and I'm probably going to change the title to Revolution in Psychology. Sorry, Reformation of Psychology. Revolution in Psychology is already a book. And Revolution in Psychiatry is a book that's written by Ernest Becker 40 years ago. What I'd like to see is just massive reformation of the field at large and presenting as many angles that can help in that endeavor as possible in this book. But the diagnostic default is basically just the tendency for people to default to diagnostic language to describe everyday conditions, everyday experiences. That's a concept that's been debated for over a century now. You look at John Dewey and R.D. Laing, Ernest Becker, quite significantly actually, and of course Thomas Szasz, this anti-psychiatry abolitionist, as being referred to as, who completely denies all mental disorders and goes to the extreme on that, saying they're all, and he also debates very heavily on the terminology, saying because these are diseases and you can't have a disease in the brain because diseases are for the body. That's physiology, and you can't see the physiology of the brain, so just run wild with that one.
Yeah.
But it's so contentious. There's so many perspectives.
Well, it's like most things. It's going to be a
You
blend.
can't see it, but you can feel it.
Yep.
You can look at the. See, that's the thing. I think if we focus more on also feeling, I think we can also see things from a different. Yeah, see things from a different. Yeah, see things from a different perspective. It's almost like learning how to feel allows you to see different. Right? So being able to balance out dynamic is good. What were we talking about before? I'm like looking for this. I'm looking for this file, but at the same time trying to talk to you guys. So I just want to so I can reconnect what we're talking about. So what were you saying right before I started speaking?
It was something about blending. I remember I was saying you got to blend. The fuck was it? I can't remember.
Yeah, it's going to be a blend of these. The diagnostic default is the tendency for people to default to diagnostic terminology to describe possibly natural circumstances and experiences, or circumstances and experiences that could be perceived in another way. We over-pathologize things for various reasons. Profit incentives and ideology is a big part of it, and just as we feel like it. It also feels good, and because we're bewitched by language, and that's kind of one of the main points I try to get across in the book is that, yeah, Wittgenstein had it right. If we pick up words without thinking about them, and we use them without thinking about them and their power or their origin. And you can see this because everyone is always surprised when they learn etymology, when they actually learn the true definition of a word, or when they learn the actual origins of the word. They're always, oh, wow, that's so cool. What do you know? That's so interesting. Like, yeah, because you just borrow words without thinking about them. Everybody does it
Okay,
because
so
the brain is evolved to do that. It's practical to the tools that are available
okay,
to it to navigate the problem space of life.
so what supplies the language?
Circumstances, whatever country you happen to have been born in. So when you look at countries like Japan, where they have more verbs than adjectives, I think. Yeah, everything's more action based and like process ontology based, and also the context of the object is put before the context of the subject is put before the subject. So, for instance, we have the word truck, and we all know what a truck is. It's like a pickup truck. In Japan, you have truck in a museum, truck inside a building, and truck outside of a building, truck on the highway. But that comes first. It's the highway truck or museum truck. So context is heavily emphasized in other cultures. It's the opposite here. It's left hemisphere thinking. When you look at McGilchrist's descriptions of this, it's just straight left hemisphere all the way down.
Pause right there. Don't say anything else because I want us to stop at this. So look at the dynamic we're looking at right now. The West versus East, right? Their speaking is extremely fluid, right? So they like to capture the emotions first before anything else, before they create
They're
the
describers.
syntax.
That's not what I'm saying.
I think
Okay,
he's
That's
saying
not what I'm
they're
saying.
better
They
at
capture the
let me
describing.
context.
no, let me reword it. Let me reword it.
They capture the
I'm talking about
context.
the difference. Yeah, they capture context first. So context is emotions. It's what context is. At the stripped down version of it, it's emotions. So when you look at that specific presentation,
First connect. Yeah, it's
what
connection.
lacks in the East? What lacks in the East in Japan? If words aren't lacking, where is the emotions lacking?
Hmm.
Are their emotions lacking? It seems like they're lacking here, where we don't know how to think
How
about our
else?
emotions because
How
we're
else?
all context ignorant.
Okay, perfect. So how else does a person speak if it's not with language? Body,
With
Body
art, you
language,
body,
I guess.
communicate.
body,
Body
Body
language.
body
yeah.
language. So look at the parallel now. You have
And
Japan.
autism, you don't have. Yeah, and autism, you don't see like there's. We talk about Western autism as a problem with context. So I have a lot of this in the books too, where I'm trying to create a model of autism as just ignorance of context or struggles with context, and that makes a lot of sense because social cues, body language, inflection, having to memorize certain social norms or memorize certain small talk, practicing facial expressions in the mirror. We're completely disconnected because we don't have context first. We teach the individual first. It's all about me. From
Hmm.
K through 12, it's the hero's journey. SpongeBob has to defeat Plankton, Spider-Man has to
Exactly.
defeat Dr. Octagonopus, and Batman has to defeat Joker, and so on and so forth. It's all about me, and so that's exactly what we're seeing in our psychology. Again, I shouldn't say exactly, but it's very heavily all about me,
Skewed
and so
towards
you're
that
seeing
way.
it in social media and pop psychology.
Well, I'm saying that the West and
So the
East they have
conservatives
that.
are like, look at all these special snowflakes, and I'm trying to focus on that too because it's so easy. Like the vast majority of the books that I read are about this topic are conservative ideology, just shutting this down and saying you have to do top-down metacognition all the time, and you have to stop being a special snowflake. All of these 936 terms you're using are diagnostic defaults in a way that's harmful to you, and it's based on a liberal woke ideology, and that needs to be separated. There are parts of that that are true where it's creating extra sensitivity, and it's a lot of it is very problematic right now because of ideology. And I'm trying to separate the elements of that ideology that we're seeing at different levels too in politics. I don't see a lot of people coming at it from a really nuanced perspective. It's very rare if they do. Anyways, I just wanted to.
I think maybe that's what we have to do. How else do you get to the core of something like that without having an understanding of both, right? Because if you really break it down and you look at the East dynamic, right? They operate from a chaotic position. And when I say chaotic, I'm talking about environment. It's chaotic, right? They need a specific structure to maintain their I guess their societal behavior, right? They need specific words to capture specific interactions, right? It's what allows the society to function in a specific way, right? Because if we were just using bullshit words, how else would people be able to communicate? So those words are based on specific interactions in the specific environment, right? So breaking down language to its core, we're no longer looking at the individual letters, but when you get past the specificity, specificity, yeah, uh,
Specificity.
the specificity of it, yeah, there's it becomes a point where it becomes too small to recognize, right? So we're not looking to be that specific. The deeper we get into language, we look to simplify, right? Because well, if we had a specific letter for every specific emotion that we were trying to say, well, that'd be fucking impossible, right? We'll start speaking stutters. So how do we go past specific wording? Well, it becomes symbolic representation, right? So there's specific
That's what I'm saying.
language
It's
that
all
represents
symbolic.
a spectrum of information. So when going back to what we were talking about before, well, there needs to be a way to integrate that. And where we're at now, especially with this current integration of, hey, we're gonna have all these Japanese movies over here in the West and the West movies over there in the East. There's that specific integration that's happening, right? And that's gonna correlate to a more evolved language. So right now, what we're just talking about, well, that's the direction we need to head in, right? Look for different ways to expand and also compress the words we're trying to say. So I was saying it's better to not just look at it from one perspective, from both perspectives. Break it down, but also build it up completely. And then see what you can compress in the meantime into something logical, of course, logically coherent.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, try to find relative symbolic representations that are meaningful to everyone. Because we're all using language, we're all using symbolic representation to understand the world, and the primary one is language. So we got to choose our language carefully.
Yeah, words have meanings.
An adaptation. It's an adaptation, though. At the end of the day, that's what it is. We're looking to where we need to adapt within a moment. If you can only speak to a specific crowd, well, that's not going to be efficient in the slightest. At the moment, in the slightest. At least maybe it's efficient in the short term, but not the long term, right? But you want to be able to do that. Speak in chaos, but also speak with fucking logical precision.
Yeah, I'm always trying to find that
I mean,
balance.
where do you think the language develops from? Language is it's the bonding between the words. It's originally slang. It's slang integrated into an advanced form of language. It's the fragmentation before it becomes whole. A lot of these slang that it starts to lack an ability to capture what you're trying to say, well, it usually evolves into something else. So there's these fragments of information that in chaotic areas they utilize slang as normal, and to the other areas where that specific slang starts to get integrated into their processing of language, well, then those people are usually ones that find a better way to shape this specific word. Like, what can we do to come up with a specific language, this or reinforce this slang into something precise and suitable for society, right? So it's yeah, they kind of reinforce each other.
Yeah, and it does sound proper to call it rejection sensitive dysphoria. That sounds very technical, sounds very specific and very relatable. An unbearable sensitivity to rejection. My sensitivities are predisposed such that they are unbearable whenever I experience rejection. And so, of course, people eat up that term, RSD. It immediately resonates. It immediately speaks to the specificity of the experience that's trying to be described. And people lack the language to describe. A lot of people talk like this too. And I was also in that case until about 8-9 years ago or so, where I really struggled for language, especially with speech disordered states, where I'd really be grasping for the right words, just grasping for any way to express myself outside of memes and popular sayings and phrases, and just like shutting down when I can't. And so I put a lot of work into it, and now I'm doing better, and I want to help other people do the same with that. But until they do, they're going to be latching onto the words that fit for them. And this is what I see with some of the content on my channel as well, and when I post, people tell me, hey, you helped me put words to my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
You described this in a way that I couldn't describe it, and that really helped me. And so there are people that are doing that, and they're doing it in a way that they think is helping, and they're doing it in a way that the other person that's reading it or listening to them thinks it's helping them, but it might actually be counterproductive, and they might find that out the hard way in the future, such as when you adopt terms like RSD. because both parties just want to feel better. Everybody wants to help each other, but it's unintended consequences. And so you have the book from Jonathan Haidt where it's good intentions with unintended consequences or whatever. The Coddling of the American Mind. That's the title of his book. The subtitle is Unintended Consequences, Good Intentions. And yeah, he goes through that. He goes through how the idea of nerfing the edges on reality is that's something that Joe Rogan says. It's where we literally put like cushions on everything, and we did that to playgrounds, and we made playgrounds lower. And he shows slides in some of his presentations where it's you can see over the decades where our playgrounds used to be crazy high, and we used to have, or like really high up, really dangerous. And if you fall, our playgrounds used to be crazy high, and we used to have, or like really high up, really dangerous. And if you fall, you could break a leg or something severe. And then we kind of went the extreme opposite direction, where we brought everything way lower. You have to have recessed monitors. A kid gets a scrape, and it's a big problem. And so the UK noticed that. The UK did the same thing, but they noticed that it was going too far, and they started to back up. And now they're putting more danger back on the playground. That's the way he says it. So they do it. They found a healthy middle ground. It's the swings aren't 20 feet up in the air. They're also not like you can't have any risk. A kid can still scrape their knee and learn lessons. But in the U.S., it's kind of different here. It seems that we're just doubling down on safe spaces. And so I'm trying to get away from that kind of talk too, or just examine the utility of that talk and avoid the mockery of the safe space, because there's that instant repulsion from the Republicans that hear safe spaces and they think these guys are snowflakes. They're going to take money out of my pocket, and I don't want to pay for their safe spaces. They're also not going to contribute because they won't get occupations, and they'll stay in their parents' basements, or they'll make excuses to not go to work, or they'll make it harder for their bosses and all that. And of course that does happen, but it's not to the extremes that are being shown and talked about. There's just so much bias, and it's really rare to see people that can transcend that in psychology. You need a safe space for therapy, but life is not a safe space. And so you also see that as a hardcore, at the core of the conservative ideology, reality is not fair. So suck it up, Buttercup. Pull yourself up by your bootstraps, and get to get. So I don't know if you read this section yet, Carlos, but there's this 4 layers of abstraction in politics and psychology. I also did a video on it, where you have the bootstrapping narrative, and I try to take it at 4 levels, where you have the person that says, indeed, life is tough, you got to pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And so Democrat will respond by saying, but I don't have any boots to pull myself up by. How am I supposed to pull myself up by bootstraps if I don't have any to do so? And so the conservative retorts by saying, well, bitch, go out to a factory and find yourself some shoestrings, and go out to a rubber plant, get yourself some rubber, fashion some fabric together, and make your own boots, and figure it out for yourself. And so the retort to that, this 4th level of abstraction, is to say, I don't have that ability. You got to teach me how to do that. I don't just automatically know how to make boots, bitch. You need to have that in the education system. And so we have this battle between that. But I think that's where that needs to land, because determinism is real. We don't have very much free will if we have it at all. It has to be nurtured. It has to be taught. You got to teach people the skills to make boots in the first place before you expect them to pull themselves up by them. So bottom layers of Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we have to have that enforced. That those are natural human rights. Safety, food, clean water, clean, good quality food, a place to use the bathroom. Bottom layer, everyone deserves that. We even guarantee this for other species, and we still don't guarantee it for humans. Pathetic. So that one, yeah, that seems pretty legitimate. The safe spaces language, I think that we're trying to bring that into the zeitgeist more now, to make this more known. And of course, that's getting taken to extremes, where you'll see a metal sign on the side of Kroger that says this is a safe space, and I'm just left wondering, who's going to enforce this safe space? What does that mean? Am I safe to avoid people talking to? Am I going to experience rejection in this place? or somebody mocking me, or somebody saying something bad to me. What do I do in that case? Do I call the safe space police officer that's at the corner of the Kroger to come intervene upon this social interaction that's not healthy, instead of doing it myself and taking up responsibility? Yeah, that's what we're seeing right now. A little bit more of a problem a couple years ago. I think we're kind of figuring it out, but there's a pendulum swing effect with that's going on, and some of it's not changing. Some of it needs more discussion, like the RSD, like all the powerful language and the 936 diagnostic terms that we now have.
So my question is, what's the safe space? What's
In
considered?
therapy, so in therapy, you absolutely have to have that. In a therapy session with a counselor, you have to be in a safe space where you're comfortable with that person, and in an
Okay,
actual physical close space that's safe as well.
okay.
But I mean,
What's
so there's a spectrum there. There's a spectrum of that, because I mean, you also have to have that with family relations, or if somebody does. I mean, so here's another way to look at it. If somebody does insult you in a Kroger, and nobody's going to be there to save you, how do you create that safe space there? How do you nullify and tamp down on all the emotions, all the fury that's going on from your offender? And how do you bring them into a safe space where they're comfortable to review their actions and give them some positive feedback, possibly in life? But that's on you. So now that's kind of a conservative side argument, where you have to be the one that takes the action. You have to be forward thinking and responsible. Your ability to respond to what's going on around you, and of course that can get taken to extremes, take way too far, and you have to teach people how to do it. You can't expect people to figure that out for themselves. We
Okay,
don't do
so
that in
you don't.
school.
We spoke about safe space, but I didn't hear anything personal. Safe space is not just a external space.
Well, you have to be
So
open
how
to
do you
fucking be
create
able to. You got to try to be. You have to have an area or a person or whatever to be able to be your true self and not worry about being judged slash
you
being
need to have,
embarrassed or
yeah,
whatever.
you need to have a space.
I think that's kind of what he's getting
You
at.
can have
No question.
no, yeah,
You won't have yeah.
that external space. Yes, I completely agree with that. But there's a internal part of it where the safe space is you. It's not just what's around you. You create the safe space, right?
Exactly.
Because
But you got to be taught how
it,
to do it. That's what I'm saying. The conservative will make that argument and think that people can just figure that out. And what's all this nonsense psychology about? And the left leaning people that realize the biology and the limits of the human mind and how much we actually need to be taught will make that point that you have to give people these skills to begin with. Although that's not so. That's the fourth layer of abstraction that I'm using. Actually, that's quite uncommon. What you typically see in politics on the left and politically left-leaning psychology and academia is that these should be natural human rights, and we need to enforce these safe spaces, because people don't have free will at all. It's all just neurobiology. It's all just your past experiences fully dictate and determine who you are today. And we have to create neuroaffirmative care models, is the term. We're going to affirm your neurotype. You have a type of brain that is based wholly upon your neurology, the arrangements of your neurons in your brain. And there's nothing that you can do about that other than to take medicine, or to take or to approach therapy as just an ongoing process where you continue to have somebody to talk to vent to, and they give you occasional strategies, but they're not allowed to advise. And so I'm talking about this the way that I am because I've seen it. I've had these debates, and I've seen polls online where people will say, "There's no place for advice in therapy. The therapist has no right to be giving advice whatsoever." And I saw that, and I was like, "Hold up, this is a new paradigm. This is we haven't seen that before. I don't think we've seen that perspective on psychology emerge in our species yet."
This tells us something right there. That this
It
hurt
worries
that
me.
people
That's why I'm writing this book.
that's part of the human experience. That's how a system gets challenged. For people to when people start to feel uncomfortable and they don't feel aligned with the external system, well, that's going to create a specific tension. So, how is that going to be fixed? Well, there's accumulation that happens, right? What happens when too many negative things accumulate? Well, it becomes something that destroys the system or fractures the system in some way. So there's a specific acknowledgement that comes with that. But I wanted to talk about what you were talking about before, about fuck. Let me remember. You were saying me. Fuck. Let me. Uh, me.
What's up, Wally?
What's happening, brother?
Got fucking ran over. That's what happened.
What did you mean you got run like on your bike or something?
Broken leg.
Are you okay? Shit.
Yeah. I was talking to you guys yesterday, wasn't I? I think Carlos was in here
Yes,
yesterday.
you were. You were a naughty
Yeah.
boy yesterday, young man.
No, I was not.
No,
So you were. You talked about beating somebody up. We all heard it
Yeah.
too.
If it was a joke, then it wasn't that naughty. It was funny. I heard you laughing. I heard you giggling,
That's
but you
fine.
didn't want to. You felt guilty for giggling.
I hate when
But
people
yeah, I
make me
beat the
laugh.
fuck out of that kid. After getting run over. No, after getting run over, I needed a new bike, and he was on a dyno comp with pegs. I was like, fuck yeah, it's mine. And I got the fucking sucker he was sucking on.
So is that the joke or what?
No, I
Yeah.
fucking.
What was
I
funny
didn't
about
even care.
that?
I didn't even wash off the lollipop. I just bit into it, and then I blew a bubble in his face and said thanks for the dyno, and I biked off.
Word up.
That's the joke.
So we can also
Yeah, I'm
use it.
pretty good at improvising. Word up is right. That's my favorite Korn song, I think. Yeah.
It is a corn
I was
song.
thinking of Korn just the other day because when I took a shit. Well, never mind. Say what you're gonna say.
I was going to say we could try to use this opportunity to create a safe space to do a performance review on the past conversation where you talked about beating someone up, but I also don't care that much.
Hell yeah. He looked
Right.
like a kid, but he wasn't. He was like 43, so it was worth it.
It was like
I checked his ID.
it was the opposite of fucking
He
the
had.
movie Jack, where you
It was
grow
like
up 10
the
times
opposite
faster.
of Jack. Yep, the opposite of Jack. Remember Robin Williams when he was 10 and he looked like he was 40?
Yep, I
This
do
dude
remember
looked
that.
like he was 10, but he was 40. It was like reverse Benjamin Button syndrome.
Wait,
So is there
reverse
something
been
out there that's gonna come with
which
this
is
conversation?
normal
or
aging.
what?
Maybe it wasn't reverse then. Maybe it was just forward Benjamin Button syndrome.
That'd be a double negative, I guess.
Either way, he looked young. I thought I was beating up a kid, and then when I found out, he was actually older than me, so it was well worth it. Anybody need a dyno?
I
I know
Gucci
it's
Mane.
funny because the dude's like, "That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny." But anyway,
What's-
Carlos, what up, dude? You guys are probably having good convos. I just wanted to say hi to Wally.
What's happening, brother? It's been a minute.
I got you.
I'm gonna be fucking playing Halo, dude.
Are you?
Apparently, you get shunned when you beat up a kid in real life, so I guess I have to do it on Halo now.
You do that way. You can say,
Hey, that's the safest way. Safest way for yourself.
Man,
You
I
know?
just wanted to get this dude to laugh. Carlos, he's the real deal.
Carlos is a good dude.
That's
You know, he sounds
shitty.
really smart when he speaks. You know, you
It's
sound
just-
really smart when you speak, and I actually listen to you. But I'm a fucking jokester, dude.
Yeah, I got you. I think you need to add a little bit more flair to your joke.
And I thought you needed a break from figuring out what speed the world is spinning at.
Oh, that's not my flair though.
It's not my
15,000 miles an hour. Yeah, 14,882 miles an hour, I think.
And then if you're walking with it or against it, so it's plus or minus 10 miles an hour too.
And it depends if you're fat too. You know, I mean,
And
it's
if you're in a
different.
car,
Well, actually, yesterday
was
was
this?
an exceptionally fast orbit, or exceptionally fast
it
rotation,
was. There's
apparently.
4 of them
We had
this
a really
year.
short orbit.
Yeah, there's 4 of them this
yeah,
year apparently.
yesterday fucking flew by. So it's like it's hard to know. I don't know. I can't correlate the shit. I think too hard on it. But Tuesdays are always gone, thanks to Leonard Skinner. I know
True.
that.
With the wind.
Here, watch me kick this hut.
Oh shit! I remember what we were talking about.
All
We're talking
I
about
got
that
back on track. See?
the container shit. Yeah, about you creating the container for yourself. It's like those specific moments where you're don't necessarily have the right tools for your job, right? That experiment, well, it forces you to go through an emotional experience because, well, you're not prepared for something, right? So that specific type of failure, right, where internally isn't aligning with your external representation, right? Hey, this is not the best quality that I know I can do. Well, that specific collapse, that specific interaction, that causes self-reflection. So it's not
You're
necessarily
right.
about having the specific directions on how to get to the situation in the right way, right? Sometimes you don't have that luxury. So people who operate within that collapse, well, they operate through experience. They're not operating through these guidelines that it's that we think is necessary. I don't think it's the only way to do something like that or to progress forward, to become more.
You're basically saying, yeah, just don't be really hard on yourself and don't expect shit that isn't possible. That's
Oh,
easy to.
he was referring to, yeah, he was referring to the opposite part of that where
Yeah,
um,
because when you
being put
think
in
like
specific
you failed, it does more harm to you than actually failing when you beat yourself up over the failure. I think that's what you're
Even
getting
like the
at, right?
thought. How about this?
yeah, well,
It's like being embarrassed before you get like
Yeah.
before it happens. Like sometimes like the thought of being
Yeah,
embarrassed or
because you
being
know
whatever
it's
is
gonna
actually
happen.
worse than
Oh,
the
I
actual
get you. I
yeah,
embarrassment.
get
So
you're
you're
you.
like,
limiting you're limiting yourself to a specific experience,
You're
right?
like, I'm
Because
gonna get
if you go
embarrassed
in there
because
with a
this
framework,
always happens, and then you let it happen to you, type shit. Okay, I get you. I
exactly.
get you.
Instead of just adapting to it, now what you're
Yeah,
doing is you're trying to prepare yourself for the moment. And what that
for the
does is
worst.
it
Yeah.
limits,
Okay.
yeah, it limits your result, right? There's a specific result that's going to happen.
For the
Does is
worst.
it
Yeah.
limits,
Okay.
yeah, it limits your result, right? There's a specific result that's going to happen with the specific way of handling
Well,
something. So
yeah, it sounds like
it's
you're
why
going
people
into
create
it
a rigid
like,
system.
hey, I'm gonna lose this game because they're just way better than us. There's absolutely
and,
no way we
and
can
I'm
win.
going to minimize my loss. That's
I'm
that.
not even gonna
It's a
try
negative.
because look at
Right?
them. They're 35-0 and we're 10-25. Yeah. No, I
Exactly.
get it. I get it. But I've never believed in that shit.
Oh, that means that you got to be
But
put to
when
that
I
situation.
fail, I do beat myself up over it because you do go, I could have done way the fuck better. And
everyone
Wally
does. I
knows
think
that. He
everyone
played
does.
sports. Like, I played
I'm
fucking
saying even
shit
just
games.
anything in
I
life.
played
Anytime
shit
there's always
defense
going to
or
be that
whatever.
moment of regret where you're going to go,
Or
man,
anything.
I could have tried
Yeah.
so much harder. Or
Well, I reference back to sports
yeah, I know you do.
because that's what people look at. And that's you played a sport, I
Hmm.
played a sport. It makes sense. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
But those experiences
What?
build you. And there's tolerance to that, right? You're putting yourself through a specific
Yep.
weight when you're going into those experiences with no guidelines. It's like you learn to
Yep.
weigh out the emotional situation in that environment and that specific interaction you're gonna have, right?
Oh,
Whether
how? Okay.
running to 100
I get
or fucking pitching a full game, right?
you. Yep.
People who go through those experiences over time, well, they accrue this tolerance to be able to deal with something like that. So there's both dynamics to it. It's not just hey, I can prepare for this in a best way. There's also hey, I can adapt to
Yep.
this in the absolute best way. So
I
there's
get you. So no matter how you're saying, no matter how prepared you are, you still have to adapt. Is basically what you're saying. The most
Yes,
prepared people, yeah, don't
absolutely.
adapt. You're gonna get fucked
it's a
over
possibility for both. You can become extremely rigid and be successful, or you can be extremely rigid and fail because of lack of adaptation.
because
And
you're
the
too rigid.
opposite,
Yeah, there is a happy. Yeah, I've seen it in a lot of people where people are ultra technical, they're to the point, they're so precise, but they just don't connect with that human connection because nobody else is that technical or that precise. So I do
it's
hear
due
what
to a
you're
lack
saying there.
of connection. It's a lack of emotional vulnerability because it's when you look at logic,
Or
it's for certain
what I
that
seen in this
if you go there,
specific
it's
person was just like he was just so far ahead of average people. Average people just bored the fuck out of him. So why even strike up a conversation where you'll sit there for 10 minutes for boredom? You know.
Exactly.
That's the curse of knowledge.
So
And that's
it's
also
like,
the
yeah, I've seen,
also the
and I've
control
seen,
is also the need for control. It's,
yeah,
you're
but some
anticipating.
people don't need to control the situation. Some people like to go like, hey, let that person have their moment, even though they're kind of a dog shit artist. You know what I'm saying? Like, whatever.
It was about the experience. I mean, at the end of the day, those they give you the opportunity to not only be able to prepare better for what you're trying to create or what specific environment you're going to be in, but it also allows you to prepare and adapt within a moment.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
you're able to prepare and adapt in real time. So you do
Yeah.
that enough.
I think everyone should be able to, but not everyone can process shit quick.
You say that
You
it's
know,
got to be something that we
it's
all
like
got to
I
Also,
learn.
like improving.
That's
but
the
you need
problem with
to
Yeah.
know.
psychology
Well,
in general.
I'm pretty good at improving, but as far as being prepared and knowing like every single answer to a 500 question test or something, it's like I'm not going to memorize that. I'll just go with it and I'll get my B or whatever.
Hmm.
That's emotional resilience right there. You're
But I
trusting yourself.
like adapting and see what I can adapt to in the spurt of the moment. Like, you know, it's like if you're on stage and all the equipment fails, are you able to acapella your ass out of there while your sound engineer brings it back? You know, it's like
Hmm.
not many people do have the ability to improv
Nope.
like that.
You can get those skills,
But
but not everybody's born with the natural predisposition.
but then again, there's a lot of people that have read 2 million books that go, hey, I don't need to improv because this is how it is. You know, and I get it's like I've seen everybody
And it'd
and
probably be
both
better if you had a
sides.
blend
You
of
know, it's
both,
like,
honestly.
and everybody's so
Yeah, so
different.
that's the
'Cause there's,
perfect. It's doing that duality, right? Because we
yeah,
can want to be fully in control of something, right? So I can say, hey, I'm gonna go to this spontaneous or this specific event that I've been told about an hour ago. I was told about an hour ago.
yeah,
It's like I can control within a moment and say, okay, well, how am I gonna dress? That's you're preparing for the moment, right? But you're not thinking so far ahead where you're gonna prepare all the way down to where you're gonna sit in a restaurant or where you're gonna sit in the office because, well, you're
oh
gonna get
yeah,
there and
yeah.
you're
But
realize that
some
there's
people
somebody
do.
in your freaking
Some
seat.
people do.
Yeah, that's what
Some
I'm
people
saying.
do.
So there has to be
Yeah.
a specific boundary or balance of, hey, I'm gonna
Oh
prepare.
yeah.
I'm also gonna be open and willing to be adaptable in whatever situation I interact with.
I just
So
say
yeah,
be as prepared as you can, and then adapt to a fucking situation. Everybody's human.
Hmm.
Anybody that thinks they're a fucking perfect robot, you need to punch in the fucking face and make sure that it isn't a metal skull.
Pretty soon
I
here.
mean, at the end of the day, I think, I think people think that they lack emotions. The thing is, people hide it very well. So when
No,
you get
people are
away
just
from
striking the wrong emotions. People are just striking the wrong emotions, and they're doing what they're told to do.
Well, again,
You're
it's how you're
supposed to
well, they
hate
taught.
were
this.
raised
A
You're
with,
lot of it
supposed
comes
to
down to how
hate
you're
that.
taught, or like.
No, I'll tell you on how you're supposed to feel about this issue, not how you actually feel. So, yeah,
Right.
fucking
That's what people
America, they
think
don't
when I
know
tell
shit
them.
about emotions.
That's kind of a big response that people get when they start giving advice on action and taking accountability and responsibility of
Yeah,
your
as
autism,
they sit back and
psychological
give the
disorder.
person advice. Yeah, it's like, I would do this. It's like, I
Yeah,
don't know.
not
It's
me.
your
Yeah,
life.
and so
Do what you want.
the way
Just
I
don't
summarize
fucking
this
throw
is
yourself in
going
prison.
to, right. Yeah, I try to summarize this by
Or else
saying
you
you
might be
don't know
bunking with
what
Diddy.
it's like to
Hmm.
suffer as
Or else
I
you might be
suffered
bunking with Diddy.
because nobody
Diddy
can.
and crew.
Diddy and Baby Oil.
Yeah, dude, the motherfucker tried to give me a hug. I was in there cleaning out the garbages. Tried to give me a hug. Motherfucking slipped right out of his hands.
Hmm.
I fucking broke the tackle, and then I spun off the other dude because I was still a little oily. I did a Barry Sanders little cha-cha, and then I did a
Nobody had
Dirty
any
Bird
sand,
Falcon
huh?
stance in the end zone.
He didn't go in
No,
for
I smacked.
seconds. I
He
would
didn't
have
go
went in
for
for
seconds.
seconds. Shit.
Um, No, Drake was in the parking lot. He said, "Is my girlfriend in there?" And I said, "Did he? Is your girlfriend?"
He did.
I killed him. I killed him, dude. He must have been a Diddy fan.
He's probably
Yes.
who was that? I'm pretty sure I think I heard him speak
I think it's all
before.
publicity stunts when you're a star and
Oh,
you
that
haven't
was
done
my buddy
anything
Ryan.
for 25
I wasn't
years.
talking. I wasn't talking about. Yeah, I was talking about the guy that was just in. That's the guy you spoke politics with, right? I'm not
No, that's
mistaken.
sometimes no. It's with him. It's more like religious, philosophical kind of talk.
Oh, maybe I
I know
touched
there's.
the wrong. Maybe I struck.
Maybe he was looking for some
Maybe I
intellectual
struck the
stimulation.
wrong pube.
Maybe. I mean, if he'll send me a message, I'm assuming if he wants to, like, I can hop in a different chat if I need to or something like that. But
So let's look at this question. So if being prepared leads to collapse and also leads to result, why does adaptability also lead to collapse and also lead to result?
because
When I say result, I mean
I don't think any
positive
one
creation.
system's ever going to be the perfect best system. It's always going to be a blend. Same as how like socialism's not right and capitalism's not right. But if you can blend the two and put them together, and they're both have their positives and negatives, you try to negate the negatives of both, and you keep the positives of both, then you can have a more perfect system. It's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be the more perfect system. And I think that's the same thing with
Hey, shut the fuck
all
up when
these
you're
things.
making sense.
Look at the system. You can be the absolute
Why would
worst
we
person.
want to take the good from both sides and blend them together and make it even better for everybody?
Guess
Why
what?
would we
That's
have to
reality.
do that?
That's
So it's
Yeah,
reality.
but people don't want to do that though. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I mean,
funny.
at
It's
the end
funny
of
when
the
you
day-
talk about it like
Money-making
that, but
system
people
to
don't
me.
do it though.
Doesn't sound like a money making system to me. We need more war. We need young people shooting guns. Am I right? Who should we start a fight with now?
It's a reinforcing system.
Wait, this ain't the ISIS group?
help
Oh
each other.
shit, wrong group. Here, I'll be right back, dudes.
For eliminating people randomly. No, there's always movement for a specific reason.
Mm-hmm.
No, but I like to think that the negative influences or not influence. What's the word for it? I guess reinforce. To generalize.
Like positive and negative.
What's a better word for? Like, yeah, but more like
Better word for what?
Better
tobacco?
stimulation,
Reinforce, so-
like positive
the bad and
stimulation,
good, they-
positive and negative stimulation, maybe.
No, he's
So,
saying
you were saying something about the financial dynamic to it, where what kind of system is that to
I was kind of
to-
joking,
you know-
but that is what
No,
everybody
I know, but
worries
you
about.
can still make the parallel where
It's like
you-
everybody's
there's
worried
a-
about money, but we're like, what, 500 quadrillion billion trillion dollars in debt? It's like,
Well, like I
if
said,
we
so for
love
me,
money
like
so much,
I'm trying to preface that a lot of people
we
always
have
keep
to.
saying socialism's the right way, or people go counter and go capitalism's always the right way. And my thinking is always just like,
Well,
why
that
can't
would
we
be
just
someone
blend the
that's
two, like
more-
where you have capitalism to have the
more a
innovation and all the cool
socialist.
things, but then you have the social safety net,
Yeah.
which is like a socialism, the roads, the military, all that kind of shit. Like
yeah,
you
that's
blend
like
them
people
together.
that
You
have
don't
been
have to. You don't have to be
Democrats
so.
their whole life
The whole
that
point of this
goes,
whole
"Oh, it's
conversation is, I
better
think
to
a lot
be
of people are very
Democrat."
stagnant on their like. They think this way, and that is
Like-
that's all they can do. They have no adaptability. They have no flexibility to be able to see and maneuver outside of their
If
bubbles.
he killed 1,000 babies, he's a Democrat, and I'm voting for him.
I mean, sure,
I'm
I'm
sorry,
not even
that's
talking about that. I'm just talking
actually-
about like the thought process more than anything.
Hell no, I don't think. What were you saying?
Yeah.
No, but yo,
The thought
piggybacking off
process?
what you
No, we're just big surveys, dude. They piss off everybody just to see how we're thinking, and then whoever's the most pissed, they make happy for a week, and then they switch.
Maybe.
100%.
that's
Every
emotional
week it changes.
control. There, that's a
100%.
regulated.
Well,
They
regulating
give you a
system.
little fucking appetizer and then take half your paycheck and say it's for the pothole out
Oh,
in front of your
yeah,
house.
well,
or
that's
something.
that's
You know,
that's
it's like-
poverty-stricken areas. Because what do you see when you look at those specific areas? especially the chaotic areas with a lot of crime. Well, you
I
look
don't
at all
think any
these.
area is really chaotic, dude. I don't
What?
think any area is that
It-
chaotic.
it's
Really chaotic.
I mean, if you go to fucking the
it's
hoods,
it's
just
controlled.
go to
Okay, it's
Baltimore,
controlled.
or go to
It's
like some of these hood.
controlled, yeah, but there's a spectrum of the control.
Yeah, go to Baltimore.
Yeah, but it's no more
Because
chaotic than fucking probably the harder streets in Minneapolis. It's
True,
no
but
harder
yeah,
than
those are.
that.
But we're saying
It's no
like
harder
you
than
I
can't.
would
But
say
yeah,
there's
but yeah,
there's
but the
no harder
streets.
than
Yes,
any
I
of
get
those
that. But the
cities.
streets. Where he's talking about like that street still, even in Minneapolis, it's not gonna be the same as fucking growing up in Edina, or fucking. I don't know.
Well, yes, I
That's
know
the.
that. I didn't have the luxury. I grew up in the ghetto. It was
Mm-hmm.
just a different ghetto.
Mm-hmm.
that's what I'm trying to get at. There's
I
variations
mean, it could
of
have
the
been way worse. Yes.
sure,
But I'd say
I'm trying to show you
95%
guys
of
the
people,
spectrum.
we're all the same, dude. It's like,
As people, yeah.
Exactly.
But we
So
didn't
look
grow
at
up the
it.
same though. That's the
Let's
thing.
look at the spectrum. Let's look at the spectrum of the information, because
yeah,
you have.
they pick the places
Let's
they
look at
want
the
to be
worst
ghettos,
the worst
dude, and
area
then
in
they
the world.
place the people
What's the
there.
worst country in the world? What's the worst country
What's
in
the
the world?
worst area? I
Country.
wouldn't know
Yeah.
other than looking at a statistic. I have to feel the shit, see the shit. But you could go by statistics all day. They go, oh, gunshot deaths, what city's the worst? And then you just pick that one. You know. Right?
Well, I'm looking at more at the environment. So you can look at the East, right? The East is extremely chaotic. There's always a lot more wars happening over there than anything.
It's because
So
it's
if you
coast,
look at,
dude.
well, but look at the dynamic of it, right? You have a system that's controlled yet still chaotic, right? But the chaos only collapses to a specific point because, well, it's a controlled system, right? Well, there's micro regions within those specific.
Yeah.
There's micro region within the East that have specific policies put in place to control a specific dynamic of the
Yeah, I was
environment.
just thinking about that
So
movie the
there's
other
a
day.
bunch of different
Gangs of
influences.
New York.
Yeah, well, it's just well, you can look at that parallel too, but
Yeah, it's
you can
just,
see how
yeah,
there's a
you're just
spectrum of
talking it's
information.
microsystem on top of microsystem on top of microsystem. And
Yeah,
there's just too
a
many
factor
fucking
representation,
germs.
pretty much. Yeah,
There's just too
pretty
many
much.
fucking germs. But they're all stacked up in the same fucking corners.
They're literally repeating the same process, just in different areas, to different extremes, to different motions.
Yeah, it's not
Right,
even
but
worth it to get worked up over, dude. We've been repeating the same process like 3 times, and I've only been alive since '89. Since I
but
started
we're
paying
minimizing
attention,
it.
it's
But yeah,
repeated 3 times.
the whole
Dude.
thing is you try to
Same
minimize
shit.
and
Same
make every generation better. That's the whole idea. Like we're better than our parents in the
It's
sense of
like,
like education and all that kind of shit. And hopefully the next generation gets better with education and doing the things like to hopefully leads to a more
yeah,
perfect
until
world.
they start falsifying all the education and feeding us bullshit to make us fucking stupid, which is
True, but
already
then
happened.
again, my thing would be we have the internet, right? So like if people learn how to be smart, like
The internet
epistemology, like
isn't.
if they can learn how to be smart, like the actual process of it, the critical thinking and all this shit, you don't necessarily need a school to per se be smart.
Oh, you're damn right. You learn whatever the fuck you want to learn. If you have the resources at your fingertips, you're gonna learn it.
Yes, but the
That's
problem
it.
is, so like you're
Unless
saying, like
you have
with the
somebody saying,
misinformation,
"Hey, I don't want you
people need to learn
learning
how to
that."
be able to spot out the misinformation. Like that's the thing. Like if you get good enough, you can
Yeah, a
fucking
lot of people are easily manipulated,
true.
and they believe everything on the internet. They believe, especially if it's a narrative where it involves them, they really get roped in.
True.
But nobody should feel like they have a hand in on any of these politics. It's like
Well, I mean, you do to an extent
nobody
because
should feel
they
like they
still have
do.
to listen to they still listen to the people. Like if enough of their constituents
They
still bitch
do.
and moan, they have to because they'll get voted out, whatever. So like there is sway. The thing is, we got to get more of a more unison voice and a more like just like better thought process because we could have like one
Yeah, we
strong
just need
actual
more
voice, we
logic.
could actually
We
do
need
real
more
change.
logic, but we need it like to where everybody can understand it. We
True.
need like,
Yes.
not a new world language, but like, hey, does everybody understand this?
True.
Oh, there's 10 people that don't. Let's make sure they understand this. You know, like
That's a big part of
back
it.
in the day, if there was a bunch yeah, that's the only thing. It's like, and they try to turn these people against each other and create these fake fucking news articles and shit. And it's just
It's
like,
to sow division.
dude, if
Honestly,
your
now people
neighbor's
make money
house,
off it. That's what the
if your
internet's all about. The internet's all about
I
making
know
fucking
they
more
do,
money
but
off.
the marketing's just gotten fucking stupid. Who the fuck cares about money? If you're causing harm to people because you're stupid fucking clickbait
But
ad,
they do. That's the
fuck you
thing.
and
I
your
agree.
marketing.
I mean, I totally
I
agree.
know they do,
But the
and
thing
they
is, so
don't give
like,
a fuck. It's all
like,
these
so
stock
like,
market fucking
how
marketing
do you get
people,
somebody
dude.
who, how do you get? That's the
Fuck you
thing.
and
I
your
agree.
marketing.
I mean, I totally
I
agree.
know they do,
But the
and
thing
they
is,
don't
so
give
like,
a fuck. It's all
like,
these
so
stock
like, how do
market
you,
fucking marketing
how do you get
people,
somebody
dude.
who, how do you get somebody who's in redneck rural area of fucking bumfuck
You
nowhere?
boycott the shit,
How do you
but
get them? How do you
everybody's
get? I think people do have to feel the pain
no
of
matter what, we
their
would have been going the
consequences.
exact same direction, dude.
I guess I
It's
tend
why are
to
you
agree with
so
you more than
invested
not.
in something that doesn't really matter?
I think we get there
Unless you're
differently,
sitting
but
down and
I
having
think we
tea
get
with
there.
these politicians. Yeah,
Because that one person.
yeah, it's we're germs. There's so many fucking atmospheres away from us that we will never come in contact with these fucking alien TV fags. Oh, sorry.
Mm.
I've been using the European cigarette word. What are you playing? That game looks kind of cool. Is
He's
that a
playing.
Zelda?
He's playing. Tears of the
Was there?
Kingdom.
I don't know what that is. Is that the newer Zelda?
Yeah. Well,
That's
no,
right.
it's like
Shit looks
3 years
cool.
old, 4 years old.
It's
Oh,
cheap.
I think the Breath of the Wild, I bought it, but I never played it.
It's a good fucking game.
Yeah, this is.
Did he just say Tears of the
Gave
Wild?
it away.
Tears of the Kingdom.
This is Tears of the Kingdom.
Tears of the
It's
Kingdom?
basically
Is this
the
Yeah.
the
same map,
second
but
one in the series for the Switch?
you also
Yeah.
have like all of this. This is the ground, and you also
Playing it
have
on
a
the
sky.
new Switch, or is you got the Switch too?
No, this is regular Switch. I'm not buying that shit. Nintendo's freaking.
I was just gonna get
Let's
an old school
innovate a new style of console that makes a major breakthrough, and let's bank on that breakthrough, and then don't release anything new, but just the same thing but slightly better every freaking 4 years. That's been Nintendo's
That's
policy.
every single
Cool.
electronic
They brought it
company
like
ever.
these things are because of Nintendo's. They're different, but they're also lazy and they screw their customers over. Like they innovated these things
Nintendo's no
with the
different.
Wii.
They act like they have the greatest
I
product
mean, yeah,
on earth,
it's
and then
really
it takes
hard.
forever to release it. By the time they release it, the graphics are 5 years old.
You know,
That's
that's such
also
a
true.
singular perspective. Like, why do you think they don't give us the best shit right away? What would that do?
Because they know they can slowly release it and make fucking maximum profit off of it.
All right,
Planned
perfect. What else?
obsolescence. Well,
Yeah,
not planned
it's all
obsolescence.
What
planned
else
out.
does it do to the people?
A little
When it,
different, but
that's from a business perspective. That's
We have to buy it. We
long-term
have to use it. We
longevity.
have to complain about it. Then they come up with a new thing with 2 new features about our complaints, and then they sell that at Christmas. They make maximum profits. Then they repeat that every year.
Okay, still logical.
Sure.
But how about the cognitive overload? What about
what
people
Nintendo
who-
has cognitive
It
overload.
depends on the head. Cognitive overload.
Exactly.
No,
So
it depends on
think
what
about
your head
think
can
about it.
take.
If they give us something that's way better than our external life, that it causes
isn't.
an issue.
It isn't. It isn't. And it never will be. A robot will never be better than your life. It don't fucking matter how good technology is or whatever. It makes you fly. I don't give a fuck what it is. I would smash
Man,
that shit and fucking throw it in the ocean.
I bet the difference. I mean,
Yeah,
look
I'm
at the
about to get rid
gaming.
of all my stuff
There's
again.
an extreme to gaming where people isolate for days.
Gaming's
That's an
gotten
extreme.
worse. Gaming is
Exactly.
not fun
So,
anymore.
and there's still
Gaming was
problems.
way
So
better in 1993 than
You know
it is
why?
right
I think
now.
the game has gotten worse because I
agree.
think they got more
Way
into fucking into
got
graphics. They
rid
care
of the
more about
fun
graphics
factor
than
of
actually
things.
like the game itself, like if it's fun or not. Like as long as the game looks good, they're
The
fine
fun
with it.
factor.
so when you look at the gaming, what are they trying to replicate? right? They're trying to give
They're
you an
trying to
immersive
replicate
experience.
real life. They're trying to make it
Yeah,
feel like
5
you're
cents
in
Well,
the
they're
open world,
fantasy.
dropped
is
in on a
integration.
real life. Yes,
That
and
is
we're
the
pinning
idea,
off
yeah.
each other. They're actually yeah, it's
So if they
exactly
were to give
what they're doing.
them the best system, wouldn't that replace the external reality that they want to live in? It'll become a
Yeah.
collapse,
It's
inward.
probably going to get to a point where we're looking at a fucking computer image and walking through it, and we don't know if we're in a computer game.
We might be there
There's an
already.
integration
yeah.
process.
It could already have happened fucking 20
Yeah.
years ago, 40 years ago, 60 years ago. It doesn't matter. Yeah, it
It's
doesn't
why there's
fucking matter.
There's
the same
there's
reason
rich
why they're
fantasy.
starting to let us know specific information from the government.
But it's basically we all could be just little Tron characters, and we all could think we're really important. We all could be just trapped in a little fucking game show, dog.
It's the Truman Show.
You know that.
And that's the illusion of
Unless-
free will, right?
Unless you know the
Mhm.
creator of this shit, yeah, it's like we all could be
Or
just little
understand the
game
pattern.
shows.
You understand the pattern of the game. I mean, are you really listening to the rules, or are you learning to make adjustments while you can? It's like the life that you have is how you adapt to the specific circumstance you're put in, right? Because the illusion is you can always break away from that boundary of that you call societal control, right? If you want to disconnect from society for a little bit, you can, but there's a specific way to integrate that into your life, so that it's not collapsing, right? Because the people who want to live free, well, you need to have specific finances to be able to do something like that. So you need to be able to bring those two together. You don't want to have someone that's completely free, but you also don't want to have someone that's completely how you call it, a follower of the law, or of this
You would
structure
say
that
yeah, like
Completely
the
complacent.
structure that's
You
been
don't want to be.
ingrained since you were a child.
You don't want to be
Too.
compliant.
Yeah.
Compliant and complacent. It's super easy to be overly
I don't know.
compliant.
I think we all should
Yeah,
be able to
right.
live free, and I think there should be less laws. But that's just my
Less what?
opinion.
I think it just has
I
to be
wish
better
somebody would
integrated.
just tell me what to do. There's a concept called
I think
freedom
the more laws
overwhelm.
you have,
That's
the
what I
more
call it.
law breakers you have. The more people that want to break those fucking laws. You
I think we need to have a better
So I think
understanding of like what our laws are.
It's-
Like I
it's
think
so
that's the big
simple.
problem too. I
I
think
think
like
we do.
Just-
I think we do.
yeah. It's
I think
like
the
you
illusion
could
is
be
that we
doing something illegal without even knowing it. There's so many fucking laws out there.
true.
Listen, there's
You
so
know.
many people that get away with shit, from the people who run the country to the people who are destroying fucking countries.
There's too
here and
many
there.
fucking tattletale bitches that are
Mhm.
doing neighborhood watch everywhere they go because they hate them fucking selves. That's it.
And that just tells us everything is hiding in the shadows, right?
They see people having fun. They never have fun. They call the cops on them. It's same fucking bullshit all the fucking time.
People don't see how complexity always makes the perspective cloudy, right? Because if they're layering a whole bunch of on top of what they think you understand, specifically in this dynamic, there's specific facades that they put in front of you, right? And they're all layered a specific way.
Yeah.
And usually,
Oh,
this motherfucker.
It pretty much depends on which illusion
Screaming
you
in my
want
ear.
to follow.
I don't know. Yeah, but there's specific layers that people are aware of. But the more pain and suffering you go through, the more experiences you put yourself through, you start to become more aware of those situations, those underlying
Yeah.
dynamics, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the people that are considered paranoid, right? A lot of times, well, they're considered paranoid because they can't justify the emotional disconnect that they're feeling. A lot of times they see all these different things, but there's something overwhelming them about the situation. So these microwaves of integrating these specific perspectives, well, they lead you to a specific understanding. So a lot of times we think that's not controlled, but it is. It's controlled chaos in microdoses in different areas.
Yeah. Yeah. It is. It
hmm.
is. So
It's
that's
just
why
a-
it's like every once in a while, I just gotta beat the fuck out of a kid and take his dino count.
Oh my god, bro.
Awesome.
Who's making this
Hey,
about?
good comedians
In a
always
video
come back to
game.
their
In a
joke, dude.
video game, guys.
In a video game, yeah.
God, it was on GTA 3. Yeah,
Mhm.
GTA 3 because I'm fucking poor. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was GTA
GTA
3.
5
I
is
had the
free.
PS2 plugged
Oh, no,
in.
wait.
Kid biked by in front of my house, and I beat the fuck out of him.
Yo, so you can fucking go to sperm bank and donate some sperm.
Hell yeah.
It's a,
Well,
Good
I
luck.
don't know. I don't know.
There's
yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they're gonna want to spread
I
your
don't think
seed.
they'll give me
anymore.
much for this stuff.
They're gonna say, yeah, this is bottom of the
Do
barrel
they do
shit
it by
right here.
volume?
Well,
Do they
it'd be
do
the
it by
cheapest
volume?
one. It'd be the cheapest.
Or do they do it
sperm.
by load?
Can I get the cheapest baby?
no, it's
Because I've
definitely
been
like,
saving.
you gotta.
I've been
You're only
saving
gonna
for a
get. You're
while,
only
thinking,
gonna get
you know,
successful
it's like
if
it's not a
you.
piggy bank. It's my
Cummy
what you
bank?
call it? Well, either way, I got gallons.
I got gallons. I got
Sick.
galleons.
I bet they'll give me 50 cents a gallon at least. Wait, what's gas right now? I
$3
hope they give me
here.
$3 a gallon. They don't have to give me full unleaded price, but I hope I get $3 a gallon for this stuff. This is some good stuff. Stephen Hawking
I'm
hit
gonna
me
build
up.
a water.
Them sell good.
Yeah, you can only sell sperm if you're over 6 feet tall and white and have blonde hair and blue eyes. That's basically the only people that qualify.
No, I know. I was reading the thing, and you have to have a college degree or some bullshit, and then you have
Yeah,
to have
also
yeah.
help.
It's
It would
yeah,
help.
it's not for everybody.
Yep.
Not for
That's how it
everybody.
goes.
It's for the rich people, so they can come in, they can pick out what their fucking kid looks like, they can do create a player with them, pick their hair, whatever, and then they go, okay, here you go, Paris Hilton, here's your fucking kid. Now, if you can get this kid to live 10 years, we'll let you out of prison. Until then, keep sticking them pineapples up your ass.
I wouldn't advise that.
Well, Paris Hilton does whatever she wants with her asshole.
Mhm.
Of course, a normal person
I
can't
think right.
take pineapples up the asshole. But that Nicole Richie probably could too.
You are old.
Man, I should play.
These references you're making.
Game,
Paris
dude.
Hilton and Nicole Richie.
Paris Hilton. Yeah,
You
I
were
he's
born
watch
in
a lot
'89.
of South Park. If you haven't seen that South Park episode, you're missing out. That shit's funny. Old
It is
school.
pretty funny.
I
You
do
mean the one
remember.
where she adopts Butters as a dog? She thinks
Yes.
Butters is a dog.
Yes.
Oh, that
That's where.
shit's so fucking good.
She adopts Butters as a dog. Yeah, that one. Oh, such a stupidly
Yeah,
funny
that shit's
show.
fucking funny. What does she call
South Park.
Butters? What was the name?
I
of
can't
the
remember.
fucking-
Oh yeah,
that
she gave him
shit
a
is
name.
fucking-
Some
What was it?
ridiculous, adorable dog
like
name.
Schmeagles or something, or I just
Snuff
remember
or something like
bitching
that.
like
I'll
that.
tell you in a minute. Hold on.
That's me. Yeah, whatever. That shit was kind of funny. What about the Crips First Bloods episode? That shit's awesome.
He was Sparky. Oh
Cripples
no.
versus the...
Yeah. Sparky. Hold on.
Oh, dude, that's like one of the first seasons where he's like, kick his ass, Sparky.
Mhm.
He's like, he ain't kicking his ass, but he's definitely doing something to his ass.
Right.
Yeah, I watched that whole show twice. I watched every episode at least twice.
It's a fucking
I
great
think
show.
I've
Quite good.
seen probably 90%. I haven't seen season 21 and on or something like that, but I've seen like
Oh, they're
90,
great.
95% of them. Casa
I
Bonita,
think
dude.
it's
That shit's fucking funny.
good too.
Casa Bonita.
I think PC Principal seasons 15 through 17 were really good. That's where you got into.
They were
PC
pretty
Principal,
good.
yeah,
That's
I
kinda
love that
where I
character.
started losing interest, though. They were good.
So-
They were definitely really good. That was a funny character to bring in at that time, dude, with the world. 'cause-
I mean, and he replaced Miss Chooksondick or
Miss Jokes
Miss
on Dick.
Chooksondick. No, that's
Um,
not her name. That was the math teacher, the principal.
Garrison.
Paris Hilton's
Isn't it
dog's
just
name was
Garrison?
Tinkerbell, and it was a dog. It wasn't Butters. It was a regular dog.
That's in real life.
Or
No, this is the show.
course-
And the dog
No,
commits
man.
suicide eventually.
Kidnap
Like halfway through the
Butters in
episode,
that.
the dog shoots himself in the fucking face.
yeah,
Oh, you're
right.
You're right.
I know. I'm looking at it online. I'm like, oh yeah, I do remember this now. That's fucking hilarious.
Why would Tinkerbell do that? You're right.
The internet comes
Yeah,
for
it
the
was
win.
just so mean with Paris Hilton. I don't blame the dog one bit. I hope Taco Bell uses them for something.
Toxic Hail.
The Tinker Bell Chalupa.
Mm.
God, I'm hungry.
Oh shit, the cave's inside this.
It's so
Figure
damn-
out what in. What in?
How
Taco
fu-
Bell's new special
how
is
how many
the
Divine
Tinker
Beast things
Bell.
have you done? How many dungeons have you done any yet? You still just on the one?
Divine Beast.
No, not Divine Beast. Whatever
Oh,
they're
I've done
called,
everything
dungeons.
except Pinocchio.
Oh, you done everything now at this point?
I gotta go take a little break.
Yeah,
I'll be right
everything
back.
but Ganondorf, basically.
Yeah, I'm saying like you're just doing side quest bullshit or whatever fun shit.
Yeah, look at them all. Freaking my adventure log is.
Jason Biggs. What's up, American Pie, dude?
American Pie.
Jason.
Good listening now. Just finding all the worlds.
He's the one that fucked the pie in American Pie.
He did. You're the
Jason
pie
Biggs.
fucker.
Yep. I'm poor as fuck. I had to use a snack pie.
Oh.
Oh, I recently changed my position on should America be the world police.
What do you think?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good movie.
So
Team America.
I watched.
Good shit.
That was a hilarious movie. I watched it recently again, actually.
Mhm.
So that's also very
That is a
South
great
Park
movie.
guys.
These
Yep.
things
So
Okay.
they,
What do you think now, Patrick?
smart ass motherfucker.
So I watched a podcast with Douglas Murray and Michael Shermer yesterday, and
I like them. Yep.
they were talking about death cults, and I hadn't really considered death cults. The way that Murray described it kind of changed my position. So it's this idea that you can have political parties and ideologies, and the vast majority of them, or all of them, want at least one thing. That there's one thing we all agree on is that we want to stay alive, is that we want life for everyone, or at least the majority of people. We want to keep people alive and preserve some life. At least if we're going to preserve some life, it's going to be our team. But when it comes to death cults, they want death, and they want it for everyone and themselves.
Yep.
So that has to be stopped. That is an ideology that they're operating under. That's usually religiosity, and you have the Abrahamic religion, specifically the Quran, that has the specific instructions to kill the infidels and you get a better place in heaven.
Mhm.
So, or in paradise. So yeah, I mean, unless you're going to have a radical paradigm shift, like we were talking about earlier, with a major religious change in the nation, the only other alternative is to intervene physically from another country that has the nuclear power, the weaponry to do it.
Yep.
Don't use nukes and all that.
Yeah.
But,
Well, you can if you
I think
necessarily
that's
need
probably
to,
the-
but very probably not. Like there's like one opportunity that you need to do it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's when we're all totally fucked and we just want to just turn ourselves all.
But
into
no,
dust
you're
and
you're
get
right though.
together.
That's the thing. So like with like Hitler, right? Like obviously he's the biggest one, but like Hitler didn't care if his people died. Like it didn't matter. Like you could have appeased them. You could have done whatever you wanted. You could have made any treaty, whatever, right? It did not matter because Hitler
That's
just
any
didn't give a
leader.
fuck. You know,
That's
like
any
those are
political
like,
leader.
and the thing is, there's still
That
people
can
like that today. Like I said,
everybody
that's the
else.
same. It's the same thing with Putin. You know, it's probably the same shit with like the Iran Ayatollah and shit. Like there are a lot of people like this where like
Same thing
there's
with the
literally
Clintons,
probably nothing.
same
Like I said,
thing
there's
with
no
the Bushes,
agreement you can make where they're gonna
same
be
thing with
satisfied to
Biden,
not want
same thing
to
with
cause
Trump,
death and or
same thing with
sacrifice their
all
own
those
people in order to win a cause or whatever the fuck it is.
Obamas. They don't give a fuck.
What?
They'll just kill everybody, take your tax money.
I caught most of that. Yeah.
They're all Hitlers.
No, the thing is, not everyone, dude. We're
They don't
the
give
thing.
a
We're
fuck
not,
about
dude. Like
anybody under 'em.
as much as you might hate like Obama or Biden or Bush or whatever, right? They weren't.
I don't hate any of them.
No, I'm
I
saying,
know
but they're
all
not.
just
They
little
weren't.
fucking
They weren't
characters.
just killing for the sake of killing. Like they weren't sacrificing civilians to better a good. Like you could say like there's. You still have to listen to the military. It was
It's
it was a
more like
choice. It wasn't a
misleading
fucking. It's not
people
like they
and then
literally
they
just picked you
ended
up out the
up
street
dying.
and just said, "Hey, you gotta go
Yeah.
kill."
It's like getting bad information and then ended up dying because of the information you got. You can't blame the information provider. You could just be like, "Oh,
I can.
well, how'd
You
you
can
not
do
know
that. You should be able to blame the information provider. No, if they don't,
Oh, you
no, I'm saying if they
definitely-
don't know.
That's
Now,
like-
if
that's
they're
like-
if they're actually lying, which means they actually know they're lying, that's different from being they're stupid and they're spreading stupid information. Like there is a difference.
Yeah.
If I'm spreading
Yes,
something because I'm
exactly.
ignorant, that's one
100%.
thing. You shouldn't do that either per se, but I'm not going to call you a bad
Yeah.
faith, bad whatever, right? But if you are willingly now
Yeah.
spreading bullshit and you know it's bullshit, well then you're
That
like
cause
scum of the
fires.
earth,
Yeah.
like in the
You're
sense,
right.
like you are
You're
equally
right.
culpable of doing it.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
So what
very
if
rare.
somebody
Though.
tells somebody bullshit and is still knowledgeable? Is it bullshit still?
Yes, because if you let's say
There's
like
One
always
more time.
no,
knowledge.
you're right. How about this?
Really?
Like so, like with
Because-
like a lot of like the young Earth creationists, they always go to like these certain science people or whatever the fuck, right, for their talking points and shit. But like
They're
these
paid
people know
scientists.
that they're lying
They're
because they
paid
are smart enough.
scientists.
They are smart enough to know that they are lying. But I'm saying like now,
Yeah.
like Joe
Yeah.
Blow, who listens to that person who's not educated, and they start
Yep.
spreading the lie, they don't know it's a
Well, you
lie.
can't say
So
that
they
they're not
think they think
educated.
it's
Maybe they
true. So
just
I'm not
don't
going to
know
blame the
science.
person
They
spreading
don't
that
know
part, but
modern
like the
science.
person that spreads it knowingly that it's a lie, they are culpable.
Yeah.
I would say equally culpable.
I don't know, because that's how business world works. It's like they're not gonna tell you that they're
Business.
failing, but guess what? They're
The
gonna
business
they're
world
gonna fuck
works.
around and find
Fuck
out and show you
business.
what they can show you.
Yeah, I know.
Like
Well, they
there's
bullshit you.
always
So
something that's always hiding.
Yes.
There,
That
there's
sounds
always
like
Now that's
something.
somebody else
that's different
speaking.
even than like half truths. I still hate those. That's still lying to me. If you know it's if I
Me too.
yeah, that's
like
bullshitting.
if I'm arguing with somebody and like I'm reading I'm
But
citing
that's what I'm
if
saying.
I'm citing a
That's why I'm
paper and I don't cite the whole paper and I fucking cherry pick like this little section, that is basically lying almost
Yeah.
because I know the full context. I'm not willingly giving to you
Yeah.
just to win an argument or win
There's
a
a
point.
term that's used
You're
by
talking like a contractual agreement or whatever you're talking, and you just skim through it instead of reading word for word. Yeah, I get what you're saying.
So there's a term called bullshit, and there's an essay on this called "On Bullshit" by Frankfurt. I forget his first name. So he distinguishes bullshitting from lying by giving the example of a beer commercial. A beer commercial, it will not tell you outright that if you buy this beer, you will have the time of your life, but they will, and you won't have any consequences. But they will depict the commercial in a way where it's kind of like that. Where it'll be a bunch of
What
hot
makes you
girls.
think?
It's very the bar is very well lit,
Yeah.
very color
Fun.
contrast, like it's more
They're
colorful
having
than reality.
fun time of their life.
It's not a
I
lie,
got it.
but it's you're bullshitting them
Yeah.
when you
Yeah.
know, like you're knowledgeably, you know that it's not true, but you're also kind of bending the truth in a way to your advantage.
No, I
He calls
agree.
that bullshit, like
Yeah,
a
That's
technical
why
term.
I fucking hate marketing. It's always like they always make it better than what it actually is. It's like, have you ever seen a Big Mac that looks like the picture?
Dude, think about like even like
No,
drug
you
users.
You can
Dude.
haven't.
Dude, think about a guy that sells drugs.
You
Dude.
can
They always
actually
make it
get them
sound
to
like it's
make it,
awesome. It's not.
Well, if they say, "Oh, it's okay," they'll never sell it. If they're like, "Yeah, it's good shit," they'll sell it.
I already know.
10
I'm just saying, but it's the same thing even with like the black market. Any marketplace, there's always going to be the person that goes, you know what? It's not as bad
I'm
as you
getting
thought
sick of
or
people
whatever.
who
And
hate
it's
this
not
stupid
right,
shit.
but that's like I said, that's a little bit different than what I'm per se talking about. I'm talking about like if I'm a
Well, you
like
can't say,
think
"Oh,
about
these people
like
need
someone
to
like
make it
RFK. I always think like RFK like has read a lot of papers and he should know that these things are like autism's not caused by
I don't know
fucking
much about this
pills and
dude.
shit. You know, like he
He
should
just
know
kinda
this.
popped up
So when
out
he
of
says
nowhere.
it, I feel like he's lying and he's fucking willingly lying and knows
Yeah,
he's
this
lying.
dude kind of just popped up out of nowhere.
Kinda.
Like
I mean, he's a
5 years
Kennedy,
ago,
so
who the fuck was RFK? Nobody was talking about this dude. They go, "Oh, let's release the fucking files." Then all of a sudden, there's another Kennedy out there. It's like weird.
yeah.
Kind of just spawned out of nowhere, if you ask me.
Yeah, I don't know if he really knows that he's willfully deceiving and bullshitting people. I think he actually believes
I
it because
guarantee
I
he
mean,
does.
he goes out and
Guarantee
swims in
that.
these fucking ponds. He's going out and
Either
taking
you're
his kids out to
stupid or
some of
you're
these
trying to
protected ass
manipulate
ponds.
the masses,
Yeah.
dude. And these people ain't stupid.
But like his sisters and shit are like nurses,
They're
and they
stupid.
told him they gave him the science of like COVID and shit, and like he's got all the facts and all the evidence.
Anybody can say that shit, dude. Anybody can go, "Oh, my family member's so smart. They told me." It's like that.
No,
doesn't
but I'm
make
saying,
it
but that's the field
reputable.
that like now like yeah, if you're smart in the field though, that's
Yeah, I
like
know what you're saying. It's like, dude, when they throw up the Harvard scientist on CNN, they run the ticker on the bottom. Then you hear the dude talk, and it's like, I talk more intelligent than this dude. There's no fucking way this dude went to Yale or Harvard
Some
or
people, yeah.
whatever. I'm like, there's no fucking way. They're paid actors. It's like there's no fucking way.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Some
the reason
people are
I
just not
think
good public
Arcade
speakers,
doesn't
too.
realize what he's doing is because he does it. He believes what he's saying because he acts on it. He takes his children out and swimming in an infected pond because he doesn't believe in germs. And he says we're going to cure autism because he doesn't understand autism. He thinks it's because of the vaccines. And so he thinks he's
Autism's
going to
more
solve
like
the
a
vaccine
gift,
problem.
dude. You don't want autism to be cured, or you won't have any geniuses anymore.
In a way, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's not something to
Just have
cure
a
it anyway.
bunch of fucking sheep running around fucking each other.
Well, again,
If you get rid of autism,
it's not even
you
necessarily a
will not
bad
have
thing.
anybody.
It's just that's what it's like. A lot of things I try to preface. Things aren't necessarily bad or good. It's how or what
you
they're
act
being
like
used for.
autism's a bad
Like,
thing, dude. The people with autism that are like fucking 200 IQ, you want to cure that so they're 100 IQ? It's like, no, let the fucking geniuses live.
Yeah, it's the dysfunctional kind of autism that makes it hard to live. But I mean, we don't know how that works at all. It's so social. The way that we
Nobody does.
describe autism
The
today
only
is very
ones that
social.
do, the only ones that do are the ones with autism, and that's like a
no,
half a
people have
percent of the
it's gotten
population.
the term autism's gotten way too broad. That's the real issue. Autism is such a big fucking
It's
spectrum
become
of a
so broad.
fucking thought
There's
process or
probably
disease. We're gonna
500
fucking call it.
variations of it. It's not a disease.
I know it's not. I'm saying, but
It's
like,
a gift. But they treat it like it's a disease. It's like, that's fucking crazy to me. There's something wrong
because
with
these
this
people
dude. You remember
aren't
the
quote
statistic
unquote
from
normal. Like when you're not normal,
2002.
what society thinks is normal, they're gonna say that it's a disease / whatever. Like that's the issue.
Normal, who the fuck would want to be average, and who the fuck would ever want to be normal?
Neurotypical. The neurodivergent versus neurotypical culture war. I don't know.
I just want to be in 15th place out of 30 people. Yeah, that's what I want. I want right in the middle, 15th place. Yeah, I did pretty good. How many people were there? 30. Yeah, woo.
I
Like,
mean,
no
if
one's
I
gonna
play
strive
Mario
for
Kart, I
that
wouldn't be
shit.
so
That
mad.
doesn't
Just
even
kidding.
sound logical. Well, at least I didn't take 16th place like Becky. Oh, I took 15th. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, I think everybody should just slow down and stop trying, and yeah, it'll work itself out. That's funny. Slow down, stop trying, and try not to smile and try not to laugh at all. And yeah, we'll dive right into this Great Depression, and it should be pretty fun. Anyway, what are we gaming on? I need to go smoke. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Dude, the grass monkeys got me. The grass monkeys got me.
Can't find this freaking frog.
The damn grass monkeys got me, dude. I'll be right back. Damn grass monkeys.
You know, there's levels of autism. You can have level 1 autism if you're level 3 autism.
I would say I'm probably like a 91, like my Diablo character.
It's pretty. It seems it's too broad to be useful anymore. I'm coming to that conclusion as of late.
I was talking to a lady at the
It's
bar,
too broad.
and that's kind of like I was trying to tell. I was talking to her about that. That's kind of what we were thinking too. It's like, fuck, man, like.
Yeah.
If everybody can be like everybody's autistic. Everyone has a little social awkward moments, or everybody has like a little quirk that would technically define you as autistic. So like when you make autism like literally that broad where everything can be in it, like it just doesn't matter. Like the word itself.
You start
like,
saying, "Oh, I think everybody's autistic."
Yeah, what doesn't
like,
count as
"Oh, this fucking dude's onto something."
Just what doesn't
Is that
count
why we
as
all feel connected? Oh, shut him the fuck up.
Yeah, I want to ask this question, and I wanted to get your opinion if I should bother doing it, because I don't know if you watch what I post on Facebook. A lot of it's
I do.
It causes a lot of trouble when I try to do it very nuanced. I still get in trouble. So I want to ask the question: what doesn't count as a mental disorder? What should we not count as a pathology, a mental pathology? And so immediately when you ask that question, it starts to sound rhetorical, and like you're trying
created
to
too
make a
many
point or something.
diseases.
You know what I'm saying? It sounds confrontational and it sounds rhetorical, but I mean it accurately. So the way I try to describe it is, if we're going to have 936 terms to describe all the ways that the brain can go awry and can become dysfunctional, we need to have another 936 terms to describe how it can become functional,
Exactly.
Yeah.
healthy. But we don't have that. So that means that we're
Well, we
pathologizing
do. We
life.
definitely do.
Too much.
We definitely do. 100%. 100%. We
Yeah,
definitely do.
you
They
can,
just
but
don't
you can
want
measure
you to know
healthy
that.
brain. But yeah, I mean, we do have a
They
lot of the
just don't want you
solutions.
to know that. We
I
definitely
mean,
do.
we're
If
trying to
somebody
find
important
all
gets
the
way
problems
too
because
deep into
we want
something,
to.
they reverse it, dude. You know that for a fact. That's why all
Well,
the
we don't
celebrities
like.
come here.
There's no money in congratulating people on how healthy their brain.
That for a fact. That's why all the
Well, we don't
celebrities
like.
come here.
There's no money in congratulating people on how healthy their brains look. It's part of medicine
Yeah,
is to
it's
find
when
the
that
problems
person
with the
feels
body
good
so that you can
because
heal
they
them.
feel healthy.
Yeah, so you're not
But
gonna
it's hard
go
to
to a
know.
counselor
Yeah,
and
you
get
can't look
counseling
at
on how
someone
to
and know.
checklist process when it comes to health and happiness. Although you kind of can, but there's not really any business in that, and there's not a point in doing that. So we
Well,
just
yeah,
continue to double
because you're
down on all the
answering
things that
to
are
the
going wrong.
dude that's saying, no, that shouldn't make you happy. No, that shouldn't make you sad. No, that shouldn't. Yeah, you're answering to another person that says you're wrong, which, fuck that scale.
Yeah, that's not the way to measure that. But I do think that we need to have. So I'm trying to
It
do
might be
this
good
brief
for
review
more
of the Think Tank.
information. It might be good for more information. But as far as, like, yeah, no. If there's 936 ways the brain can go, that means there's 872 ways it can go, which means there's 3,700 ways it could go, which means there's unlimited, dude. So it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we just gotta be able to draw a line somewhere. That's the point I'm trying to make. And we don't want to seem to do that. So if we don't draw a line somewhere, we're just going to keep pathologizing, and we're going to end up with another 1,000 definitions of ways the brain can go.
Which is where
We're
men
good.
need to take their balls back and need to set them. That's pretty much it.
Well, so they're saying the next DSM is going to be less pathologizing, and it's not going to be as labely.
We'd be
Apparently,
better off if
DSM
we
6.
stopped following all this stupid bullshit, to tell you the truth, but good luck.
Yeah. Well, it's mostly for insurance purposes, is what they tell me, so that they can give people diagnoses and not get in trouble because they follow the book, and they can write prescriptions and
That
not get in
probably
trouble
is
because they
part of
follow
it.
the book.
I would say that's probably part of it, but
That's what most of the therapists. Right? That's
Well,
what the
nobody wants to
therapists are
seriously
telling
get
us.
in trouble, but a lot of these people probably should be thrown in prison.
maybe. I feel like I just feel like
For
as long as we can,
psychologists.
we gotta. If you're gonna make up new terms and shit for mental disorders or whatever, I think they need to be hyper focused instead of being broad. Like so that'd be the preface I would go. Instead of having
They make it as
937,
broad
like
as
you're saying,
possible,
instead of having
right?
Yeah, one
937, I bet you
issue
could
by
fucking collect some of them, put them all in the same category.
It's like catastrophizing. It's like what we do when we catastrophize, when you just stack all the problems together, and then suddenly you have the depression, or suddenly you qualify as somebody
JC
that has.
syndrome. Yep.
And this is where you
JC
have to have
syndrome. I know that one well.
it's specific. You go issue by issue as you go to diagnose someone. If you don't do that, then you just stack them all together, and then you add up to autism, which is the opposite of precision science. That's not how you do science. That's not how you do physiological medicine.
No,
That's not somatic medicine. When you do somatic medicine, you do look for correlating problems and things that could lead to it and symptoms or causes for symptoms, but you don't extrapolate into the realm of behavior or try to place your opinions on the condition. You don't project like we seem to do, and you don't make assumptions.
Hard to
You
not
find, but
project,
it's hard because you can't point at
especially
the
when
location of the brain that's causing the disordered state. You can kind of, but it's very difficult. It's much easier to do it externally through the interview process, through the checklist process, where we compare all humans and we make the false equivalence fallacy. And this false equivalence fallacy is at the heart of the issue. Carlos, you'll see this throughout the book if you're reading this. the both parties do this, and that seems to be why we have so much confusion. It's a big part of the culture war going on in psychology. So the conservatives will say everybody has this equivalent ability of free will. Everybody is born with the ability to always be able to respond to their problems no matter what, and it's your own fault for not managing your own problems. Suck it up. And so they falsely equivocate. It's a false equivalent fallacy where all brains are equally equivalent the same. And then the measurement system, the EEG system, and on the left, or on the neuroaffirmative care model of psychology and psychiatry, that's also falsely equivocating all brains, and saying that if we do an EEG scan and we see that you have low activity in this region of the brain, or if we do a spinal tap, which is extremely rare and also extremely ineffective and inaccurate, we'll see that you have this deficiency of dopamine compared to all the other brains that we have the data on. And so they do false equivalence fallacy with that too. And so that's all throughout the but you have to do it because you have to have some kind of standard of a human medium to measure people by. But when it comes to psychology, that's extremely dangerous because you're not talking about a heart condition. You're not talking about Crohn's disease symptoms. If I'm going to the doctor and I'm talking to him about my gastroenterologist about my Crohn's disease symptoms, he can do a very good job of accurately pointing me to the right diagnosis, which is Crohn's disease. But when it comes to something like ADHD, or it comes to language processing disorders or whatever it might be, that's extremely vague, and it's always external. It's always measured by an external, falsely equivalent standard, which is unintentional. Again, it's unintended consequences. Because we don't have better models. That's what I'm trying to make, is these better models.
But isn't that the problem with every idea?
Yeah, you just got to be careful. You got to know about it.
So let's look at why the issue still persists.
Well, I mean, maybe it's not. I mean, not like astronomy and things like that. You're not going to see equivalence fallacies, but
think about it. The thing is, what you're doing is you're looking for a specific framework. Look at the underlying pattern that you just saw, that we just talked about, which is what.
Well, I'm trying to question this. So that's not the framework. I'm trying to question the frameworks by saying the framework that they're using is falsely equivalent. It's based on a standard brain that we don't have.
What I'm trying to do is show you the parallel to that. There's a parallel to that, and then there's the integrated version. So. You said it wasn't presented in you said astronaut? Was Astro what? You said something like that?
Or just another field. There are fields of study that don't really seem to contend to how we're looking at equivalence.
Okay, so that's because we're looking for that specific way of looking at it, right? If you scrape all your thinking down to a specific pattern, don't worry about the precision of it, right? The shape. Just try to grasp its core, and look. It'll drop down. It'll drop down to chaos and order. That's the duality: uncertainty and certainty. So when you start to build, and you start to layer it on top of each other, from the macro to the micro, well, you see a fractal representation of it, broken down in recursive layers, where there's a beginning and an end, and in the end is also tied to another beginning. But it's. Are you familiar with topology?
Yeah.
Well, it's like that. There's a fractal breakdown of it, where it's almost like a yes and no. What do you call those fucking surveys? One of those yes and no surveys. There's a specific answer to each, where if you answer yes, it'll break down to this specific answer. If you go no, it'll break down to that specific answer. So there's a negative and a positive to it on both sides. They both have structures. So what I'm saying is your perspective is on the positive side of it, where there's a specific way to handle that specific contradiction, right? That uncertainty. But when uncertainty becomes too much, what needs to happen? Structure needs to be made in order to contain that specific problem.
Humility, I think humility has to happen. Once you don't know, you instantly meet your lack of knowledge with humility. It's like, well, you say, like, your confidence should be matched by your knowledge.
Yep.
And we don't know what an equivalent model of a brain is. So we need to be humble, step back, and admit to ourselves that we have more work to do, and we shouldn't just be going whole hog with the DSM-5 and with the models that people are presenting in academia. We have to try and step back and look at them and just try to form ones that are more nuanced and more specific. Where it's like we were just saying with the individual experiences, it seems to be more dangerous to amalgamate and to add things up to meet a certain criteria for a disorder than it is with physical medicine. Because in physical medicine, you can say, I'm having the feelings, which are that's psychology and physiology. I'm having gut aches and I'm having cramps that last for this amount of time. And a few weeks ago, they didn't last as long. My parents have a genetic predisposition towards having bowel disorders, bowel issues. And so you can add those up to Crohn's disease. But you can also do a colonoscopy and you can see physically that there are ulcers inside the person's intestines. You can point and say that is Crohn's disease. But yeah, you can't do that with ADHD. It's always comparative and external.
That's the thing.
But
Nature
we
by
have
necessity.
ADHD.
We're getting better, but we're not fully there, yo.
So we do have some. Okay, so we have some
Okay.
studies, and I'm also very afraid of that because it's because of the reification problem, and the fact that we say like once you get the diagnosis, everything because every time that we have struggles with focus, instead of thinking of that as struggles with focus or a hunter-gatherer problem that we have from being distracted by a shaking bush like that we all have, it's ADHD. My ADHD is causing this, and so that happens unconsciously. Naturally, we're not actually taught to think of that way. Your psychologist is likely not going to tell you to think of it like that. Therapist won't, but the talk of the town is that the zeitgeist seems to be very much these conditions and these experiences are to be blamed on my mental condition that I'm predisposed with. So you have to. I'm just saying that you don't have to do all this specifics and completely rework the entire field, but at least do this in the clinic where you tell your patient, be wary of these terms. I'm going to diagnose you with this. I also offer a few different approaches with this in the book too, Carlos. So you can say, let's step back and let's look at the utility of the words. Let's look at the linguistics. And here I'm going to give you this diagnosis label, and you'll take that diagnosis home. But whenever you go to use it, remember to be wary of it and don't let it explain or over-explain things. I already think that's hard enough to do. I really think it's probably better just to don't say. It's better not to say the diagnosis. It's better just to withhold that information, keep it to yourself, and give the recommended recommendations. But we're not even allowed to give advice in therapy now, apparently. So it seems like we're already too far gone in some ways. But I'm hoping that's a pendulum effect again.
Yeah, I would say it's in the process. I mean, we can see
It's all
it
in process.
because there's so many parts of psychology that's extremely rigid, right? A lot of the things they're categorizing or labeling in specific ways, right? You have that part, but then you also have the fluidity of psychology where they're starting to normalize specific behaviors like what do you call it? Genderism? Is that it? Yeah. So there's specific behaviors that are being introduced and normalized. Well, when that becomes an extreme, right? The extreme becomes too much for this psychological structure that they created to manage this specific problem. Well, when it gets out of hand, there's another space. When it gets out of hand, there's another space that needs to be created. So like you talk about, hey, the DSM-5 needs to be reinforced this way or needs to be improved this way. What a lot of people do is they try to work through the system that already exists and try to add to the original system. A lot of times what people don't realize is that sometimes you got to be the one to
Start the change.
You got to be the one to start off at to make the change, right?
Yeah.
You have the seed, you have the supplies. Internally, you process the information. You know what you need to do. But I mean, you need
Yeah,
to.
action
It's
focused,
procrastination,
solution focused
man.
mindset. Yeah.
It's procrastination. Like I feel like a lot
It's
of people know. It's like life in general. Like a lot of people know what to
I mean,
do, but the first step to anything is always the hardest step. Because I think once you get outside of your comfort zone of your normality or whatever you want to call it, it's same as relationships and all this shit. People stay in shitty situations because
Right.
it's comfortable. I know it's tomorrow's gonna bring. You know all that stuff. So you're right, but that
Right.
how do you get someone motivated to do the first step? That's the thing. Like that's the question you need to ask because
Well, I'll tell you one thing. What you don't do, you don't get them to hyper focus on their comfort zone, and that's exactly what we do
True.
with the neuroaffirmative care model.
yes,
We're
you're right.
trying to find a way for you to be comfortable in your own brain, given the genetic predispositions that you apparently have, based on this external list that we're assuming that you have these predispositions on. I really don't think that's gonna help. You have to have both. Okay, so this is also a term that I use. I think it's very useful. The sympathy solution dichotomy.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be a dichotomy, but right now it certainly seems to be, doesn't it? You have the solution focused mindset, you have the agency oriented, encouragement focused, forthright, headstrong, forward center of mass attitude towards life, which is encouraged in CBT and mindfulness, and also in stoicism and also in conservatism and the pull yourself up by your bootstraps narrative. So there's a natural resistance to that because of the ideology that is in academia concerning the left or concerning liberalism. And I want to use the right terms there. I don't want to say the left, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
There's a natural repulsion to that
Yep.
because of ideology and also because of care, because people really do want to help people be comfortable in their own skin. So you have to have this balance of
Mhm.
sympathy and solution. And good therapists know how to do this, but really what it seems like is the therapists that have the clout and the experience and know they're not going to lose their jobs, those are the ones that are allowed to do that.
Yeah.
A lot of the therapists that get out of academia and graduate, they're afraid of taking those risks because they could lose their job. The patient can report them and tell them that they're being too insensitive, or they just go online and
Yeah.
that's
Bad
another
reviews
huge
and
problem with
shit.
social media.
You know.
Your LinkedIn right there, so they just go right to your LinkedIn and say, "Hey, this person made me feel bad."
Yeah.
Good.
If you want to think about like
That's
politics, if
resilient.
you want to think about politics
Why
like that,
not do
like you
that?
just made a good point and maybe think like this to man. Politics, like the left and right paradigm per se, if you want to think about it, it's like a good stable like two parent relationship. The Republicans are your fucking tough dad that goes, you know what, you fell down, get back up, tough it up, man. Just rub it off, go on. And the Democrats are your mom that makes you feel like, oh, honey, it's okay. Like
Like they're
you need to
trying to
fucking feel
divide
sad. You need to do this, and you technically both are wrong. You just need the blend of the two. You got to fucking
Yeah.
find the perfect mesh point where
You don't even need to
you
blend
you
the
know
two.
I don't know if
Let's
I don't know if
focus
it's
on
70
both
30
of
or
them
whatever the
starting
fuck
to really-
like, but you just need to find the blend of the two.
And I
No,
think
that-
saying that both is wrong. It's like you need to. I think we need
They're
to
more wrong
understand.
than right.
Individually,
It's
There's emotion.
dichotomized.
well, I'm saying
Those approaches are
individually.
dichotomized, and they shouldn't be.
I think
Both
there's
sides are more wrong
emotion
than right.
right? Because if you're in that specific mentality for a long time, then it becomes counterproductive, right?
Yeah,
So
it's because
it goes
they
back
pick
to that
one
balance.
side and they go,
It's-
actually, we picked the wrong side, and they flip back to the other side, and they go, wait, the other
No,
side
we're
was
not way beyond that.
better.
We're just talking
And
about
they
just
flip
other
back,
things, but
and
yeah.
it's-
It's about understanding the threshold. When do we reach too much? And I think that's the dynamic we have
I'd say
between the West
15
and
years
East.
ago. 15 years ago is when we had too much.
When
Maybe
was that?
Yeah, it's like psychology's gone far enough. I do think that's true. We kind of
2010, we keep trying to dig into things that don't need to be dug into. And now everybody's like, holy shit, everybody has 50 million disorders. Ah, and we all gave them to ourselves.
Well, we're influenced, right? We're influenced by our environment.
Mhm.
I think it's to become
Because
aware of
they
your.
keep telling us that we have disorders. So it's like,
It's,
if you
but that's also the people pleasing mentality, right? The yes man mentality.
exactly.
Mhm.
People who do that,
You
well, those
please
are
for
going to be.
long enough, and then you freak out, and they give you a disease.
Well, it limits the chaos, right? That's what it does.
No, it doesn't.
It's like,
No, it
hey,
doesn't.
yeah,
It
it-
gets
it
a bunch
may-
of zombies walking at the same exact
Sure.
pace.
sure, but
Yeah, but it's
again,
controlled. That's his point.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
like
it's
Nazi
control,
Germany,
but
dude. Zombies
exactly,
walking
but that
around
tells
at
us
fucking
something.
half speed. That's not good.
No, that
That
tells us
means
something
there's someone
because
walking around at 2 times speed that's gonna wipe out all the half speeders.
obviously, but that just tells you that there's a survivalist mentality to it. It's like
Yeah,
you
it
can
tells
either sit
you.
there and go at half speed for the rest of your life, or you can slowly become aware of it and realize that this is not something you actually want to do. And you have to be able to push outside of that boundary. Like, ask yourself questions. Are there different people doing other shit? Are there other people doing different shit? Like,
No,
try to
nobody doing
try to see
anything
from the
really.
opposite perspective because there
Nobody's
there
really doing
always has
anything when I thought everybody was doing a lot of shit. Most people sit on their fucking ass. That's what I'm finding out.
they're influencing something, whether it benefits us or not.
No, they ain't.
I mean,
They're
it's a
influencing
reinforcing.
obesity.
They are
Oh
influencing. As
well,
long as you hang out with
yes,
other
it does.
people, you're influencing people.
Guess what? Obesity supplies fucking finances for fast food restaurants. Reinforcing system. Guess what?
Fuck fast
The
food systems.
obesity feeds McDonald's. McDonald's feeds poverty, or feeds the
No, it
poor
does
people.
not.
It
It
does feed the
doesn't.
poor.
Makes
Poor
poverty
people buy
people sicker.
McDonald's.
Yes,
Poor
It might
people
not be
get
good for you,
back.
but it does feed poor people. That was his point.
Yeah, I mean, at the end
No,
of the
I
day,
get it. You'd be
food,
better
fast
off
food is
eating
very
out of the
available
fucking
for a reason.
garbage can, dog.
I
Sure.
mean, that's nobody wants to live like that. But at the end of the day, it's there for a reason. It's like
No,
people
fuck
who understand the way
McDonald's. That
business.
should be eliminated. That's the first big business that should be eliminated, followed by big tobacco.
If it can be replaced by something that's equally as healthy and affordable, or equally as
It could be
affordable yet
replaced by
healthy,
something that's cheaper and 10 times healthier.
Yeah, but
how
the
do you
quality
feel
has to
that?
be
We
it has to be
held
minimized.
on. It's a staple of
The quality
America.
has to be
We gotta
maximized.
keep the piece
The
of shit
thing is,
around.
in America, we don't want that, obviously, because if it was, that would be an
Yeah,
option. There's no fucking fast food salad bars and shit. Like, like we all know this would be better,
Oh,
probably
they're
healthier.
just
Healthy
$15.
fast food?
They are
They're
$15.
$15.
Yeah, that's part of it too. Like, I will give you the price. Like, that is definitely going to be part of the problem. But like,
No.
I'm just saying, like, these
If
things
people
don't
are
exist as much
lazy,
as
they don't
McDonald's.
need
Is because
fast food
McDonald's
places.
people want cheap ass fucking burgers. People like cheap
They're
meat
not cheap.
compared to going to
But they're
fucking
not
like
cheap.
anywhere
Shut
Now
up,
else.
when they had a
Cowboy.
dollar menu, maybe. But now there's no reason to eat at that fucking place. Not one reason,
Man,
unless you're getting a big
I
flurry.
I disagree. You must not know what it's like to be poor. There's people that are
Yes,
poor
I
that
do. I've been poor my whole life. What the fuck are you
okay,
talking
so you
about? That
understand.
is the last
So,
thing I would buy with my
so
money.
you either don't understand or you're in denial. So which one is it?
What are you
There's
asking
no
me?
need
What?
for there's no need for McDonald's.
Absolutely no need for McDonald's. Absolutely not one.
What
What's
about the
one
person that
reason?
can't afford a home cooked meal?
What are you
No.
talking about? McDonald's is more expensive than most sit-down restaurants. What the fuck are you talking about?
I mean, you can get like two
Okay,
McDoubles
so
for like $4. So I mean, like if you're like legit
just
starving
making the
for
argument
cheap,
that-
you can get.
okay, so
No, bro.
number one,
You're
let's talk about
spending
poverty. Let's
six.
talk about
You're
let's
spending
talk about being
six,
poor.
dog.
It
You
all
just said
depends
it
on
was
the environment.
cheap. Now you're
That
saying
is
it's
not
$6.
cheap. 2 small sandwiches for $6. You could buy a loaf of bread and lunch meat for $6 fucking dollars.
Probably
dude.
not.
McDonald's ain't doing
A
us
loaf
no
of bread's probably like
favors.
$2 now, and meat's probably like $7. It's probably like $7 a pound.
Hey,
If I
that's-
Oh yeah,
Who
pound
cares?
of meat.
You
You
have to look at
Yeah,
the
pound
dynamic.
of
sandwiches,
meat is
not
gonna be-
two.
That's not going to
You
be
have
good
to look
meat.
at the dynamic because
lunch
someone who
meat is
doesn't
like
live
$6
in a
a
place
pound
where
right now
they can buy
at
food
Walmart.
You
that
are
will
not selling McDonald's very well, dude. If you were a McDonald's spokesperson, I would have fired your ass.
No, but
5 minutes
we're
ago.
going to like, the more philosophical, like
right.
that
Yeah,
kind of
we're
question.
not. I'm not
We're
justifying McDonald's. I'm
No, I
I'm
know.
justifying the
There
necessity
was a
of
reason
having
for
a place that
McDonald's
feeds
when
the
they had a
poor.
play place and they had decent food in the 90s. Yeah, there was a place for it. But they should have got rid of that fucking restaurant 20 years ago.
Well, you
We
can't.
found out how fucking
It's not
I mean,
even-
that's
shitty it is.
look.
We should have
Look,
got rid
It's not
of it.
even-
McDonald's has an audience. The audience is the people who can't afford to buy groceries because they don't have a house. Guess what? They're gonna feed the people that want to go in for a fucking $2 sandwich because that's all they got in one day's work, right? So it feeds someone. That means it has a purpose, right? And in turn, it feeds the poor. The poor gets more of the food, right? It survives. And then it takes that opportunity, right, from surviving off of McDonald's,
So
he
turn the
either
rat into a
ruin the rest of
dumber
his life.
rat.
Oh,
Is
yeah,
basically
ruin the
what
rest
you're
of his
saying.
life, or you can recognize that, hey, this is not really healthy, healthy food. Maybe it's temporary, short term, right? And now you can
I
say,
say
okay,
burn them to the ground. I say burn them to the fucking ground, but
I,
that's just me. Final
I,
answer. Regis,
I
what do
get
you
the
think?
mentality.
I say burn them to the fucking ground. Replace them with Taco Bell. Have 2 Taco Bells instead of a
I mean,
McDonald's.
Taco Bell ain't much better.
Well,
I
how
mean,
is
per
that
se.
better? That's
Fuck it.
worse than
Put it in
McDonald's.
Culver's. Fuck it. Put it in a Burger King, and then
I'm saying
start selling
they're all
McDonald's
basically
product.
equally bad. They're all
I don't
like
give
none
a
of them are
fuck.
good, like per se.
Yeah, it's
Dude,
the
Culver's
purpose
is
of
decent food. Five Guys is a
Yes,
decent
but okay,
burger.
you're
Like,
right. But
this
guess what?
shit
Now you're
actually
getting more
tastes like
spendy.
you're eating
Those
food.
burgers. How about this? You go to
McDonald's, I
Five
don't know if
Guys and
I'm
you get a
even
burger
eating a
fries. That shit's gonna
hamburger,
cost you like $10, $12.
That's it.
dude.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm saying,
So is a Big Mac meal, dude. And you don't even know if you're eating fucking beef.
yeah, but
When you're eating
I'm
beef,
saying
they
Five
do
Guys.
have
Five
they
Guys
have
doesn't
some.
have like a value menu.
They do.
There's no value menu. That's what we're talking more about.
Neither
The
does
value menu people.
McDonald's.
We're not talking about like like a dude that goes there and fucking
You
buys
get
like.
full on 2 McDoubles. Dude, when I eat
If you were,
McDoubles, I eat 4
I'm
or
saying
5
if
of
you were
those
legit
fuckers to
poor,
be
I bet you
full, and
would.
that's $18.
No, you can
So
get.
you can't get rid of McDonald's. I'm gonna jump in on this one.
You're
So
spending
the
$20
McDonald's is
regardless.
not an
Will you
American.
please just sell me food instead of shit I know that's giving me cancer? It's like McDonald's is knowingly selling you cancer, and it's expensive cancer.
But it won't
does
go
it
away
last
because
you?
it's a global phenomenon. McDonald's
It's
is not an American corporation. I mean, it was founded
No,
in
I know.
America, but
It's too
it's
big.
now a global phenomenon.
It's
And
too
also,
big.
it's something
international.
that
It's way too internationally big. Everybody
it's
knows
also
the big old
convenience. So it may
Convenience.
actually be the case that it may be the case that it's cheaper to actually buy some bologna or buy some cheap meat and some cheap bread at the store and stretch your money like that, which was definitely the case 20 years ago or so. But now I think it's just convenience. I mean, it's called fast food for a reason. People got to get their food fast because they got to get out of work and then go deal with their kids, and they don't want to freaking make dinner every night. And that's where the money. That's how they make their money. And it
McDonald's
might
is
be
not
healthy, it might be
fast food
bad,
anymore, dude.
but it's work. But it is. But it's
You're paying for
unintentionally
convenience. How about
adding
this?
to
Think about the whole company
It's
Uber.
unintentionally
Uber is
adding
like Uber Eats and all this shit is stupid as fuck, right? Like we can all go shop ourselves and go buy our own food, but guess what? You
We
pay the
need
extra to
to
fucking
stop
have something.
lying to this
Walmart
stuff.
delivery, Walmart grocery delivery. You
Stop
can
being
now
so
just
lazy.
But I'm
order
saying,
your
but
groceries from home
why are you paying
and
the
have
extra?
it
Why is
come to you.
everyone paying the extra $10 for this? It's for the convenience. You're paying a convenience fee. So
These are
obviously, like,
Fucking lazy.
it's short term versus long
But
term.
guess what? It is crazy. And I'm not
they're
disagreeing with you, but you
fucking
saying that there's
lazy.
no point, there's no reason for it, no like whatever. That's just wrong because
They
there
wonder
is a
why they don't
reason.
have money, but they look at their Uber Eats account
Correct.
and they spent $600
And
on
again, now
food
you can
a
start
month.
blaming
It's
people. Like this, is where he gets to where people want to
they
blame
do it
everybody
for
else for like
fucking
the Latinos for fucking stealing my money or whatever the fuck it is. And a lot of it is just their own problems,
No,
right?
they're
Because
just
they're
trying to
spending money
create
stupidly,
race
right?
wars.
Most likely.
It's the conservative argument where we say that people have to have this individual sovereignty and
You
individual
gotta have someone to
responsibility,
hate
and
on,
they're
so
always
that's why I
in
said it
perfect
changes
decisions.
every week.
They should always be making perfect decisions with their money.
Mhm.
So that's not realistic, and I'll give you 2 reasons why. So 2 big stats here. Surveys from 2023 showed that 6 in 10 American citizens have less than $500 in their bank account. Sorry,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and 5 in 10 American citizens have 5 in 10 American citizens that make more than $100,000 a year are living paycheck to paycheck. So,
Yeah.
some suburb, you drive through a
A lot
suburb
of
and you see
people are
somebody
wasting money is what you're
with a
saying.
boat and a jet ski. They have a boat, a jet ski, and an SUV, and another super shiny car. And all of those cars are on credit. They're all on loan systems because we have instant gratification culture. That is the American dream that we're certainly supporting and promoting, however you
Yes.
say that. It's no
you're
longer
preaching to the
pursuit
choir,
of
dude.
happiness you know what I'm saying. It's pursuit of
Money
happiness
more
has become
problems.
pursuit
He was
of
telling the truth.
material gain. It's pursuit of material gain and acquisition, and we do that to the extent that we think everything's going to be fine. We're going to continue having our paycheck every month, and our mental foundation and constitution is going to remain stable throughout our entire occupation. And
Yeah,
that's
it's
not how brains
accounting.
work either. So
They
that's
just
what the
make sure they have
Republican
a little
Party
bit
is
more than what
based
they
on.
have to
That
pay out, and they keep it going.
yeah, it's an
Yeah.
assumption that
And
people
they
will
just
just
keep
always
doing
be
it.
responsible. But the stats show that's not the case. Even with the uber wealthy that are supposed to be the responsible ones that grinded for 80 hours a week to get their McMansion and get their, they're also living paycheck to paycheck because they're not responsible. They're also victims
True.
of this instant gratification culture.
It's
From
how
all scales. It's
Yeah,
the,
it's how
the poor
millionaires.
to the wealthy.
It's how millionaires become broke. People are like, how do you lose a fucking $1 million? Well, guess what? If you have a problem, like I said, if you have a drug problem, a gambling problem, or a prostitution problem, whatever the fuck, if you have a problem when you're poor, when you get $1 million, if you get $10 million, you're still gonna have that same fucking problem. That's the issue. People don't realize, like, the money doesn't solve anything. It just makes it bigger. If you have like I said, if I have a drug
Makes it
problem, guess what?
worse.
Now I have a
Makes it
$10 million
bigger.
drug
Yeah.
problem. If I have a fucking gambling problem, that's a $10 million fucking gambling problem. You know, like, it doesn't solve
That's
anything.
serious shit. Yeah.
Money itself will never do anything. You have to fucking use it for good. And know what you have to be smart and know what you're doing with it. Like, it's like anything.
Yeah. That's why I sell drugs that won't kill people, especially the kids. Especially the kids.
Especially the kids.
Same ones I beat up. I sell them painkillers after
After I
beat the
whoop
fuck
their
out of
ass, I
them.
sell them the fucking Vicodin.
You're gonna need this.
You're gonna
Percocet,
need this,
kid.
bro.
I just beat the fuck out of you,
That's so
and
funny.
I'm gonna need $5 for it. No, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. But Dino Comp with pegs, dude.
Hmm.
It's got the gyro headset, so I can do spinneroo tricks with my handlebars. Pretty fucking sick.
You know, living
Alright,
that
I
life is probably what's making you miserable.
You ever seen The Longest Yard? You remind me of the backup quarterback.
Hmm.
You ever seen that movie?
I have
The one with Adam Sandler?
Back up. Oh, the one that
them
one
prison.
that- through, like-
Yeah, I can't be the first fucking person that said that. I knew I shouldn't eat that popcorn. Say it.
you trying to make a joke or what?
No,
Because I
that's
can't see
real.
you.
That's for real. I knew I shouldn't
Is
eat
that
that
for real?
popcorn. He fumbles the ball and he
You
goes,
let
I
me
knew I
see your
shouldn't eat
face.
that.
I'll make a joke too. It's
My
only
face
fair.
looks just like that, minus the dick
It
cloud.
looks like a dick. It looks like a dick coming out your mouth.
Yeah,
You
my
need to
face
take a
looks
little
just
picture.
like that, minus the dick cloud.
Yeah, minus the cum on your face. Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
it.
that white cool
No,
stuff.
that's
Well,
smoke.
it's probably what's making your face white.
That's
the
just
picture.
smoke, dude. That's just smoke. I blew the perfect dick cloud. That was on purpose.
Mm.
Do you see how erect it is? That's an erect smoke cloud.
Should have stuck your tongue out. Get some
Should've
ball
stuck
gag
your tongue
action.
It's
out.
realistic. It's realistic because it's looking to the right. It's realistic because it's looking to the right.
No, if it was realistic,
Yeah,
it'll have two. There's only one on there.
No, I blew out that hit and I thought it.
Where's your hands in the picture, bro? Where's your hands in
the?
the picture?
No, I blew
like,
out that hit and
yeah.
I thought it was LL Cool
I know,
J
right?
from the movie Anaconda looking back at me.
Oh, you're doing the Nicki Minaj song? My Anaconda Don't Want None?
Oh, that ain't Nicki Minaj. That's Sir
So
Mix-a-Lot.
you record yourself twerking, huh? I feel like you're the type
Me?
of guy that
No,
like,
but
let me-
one
let
time
me
I
look
got my
up your-
arm. No, one time I got my arm to look like a hairy asshole. Took my pinky and started playing with it. No, I was just seeing
He
if
comes
I
in
could
like a
say the
wrecking
most
ball.
Awkward shit.
So was it in
Dude,
front of
one
the
time
mirror? Was there two
One
of you
time I
guys?
curled myself up into a ball, and then I jumped off a diving board, and I said, "Cannonball!" and it splashed people. Yeah.
Story, bro.
That was a great waste of time. Great waste of time.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. If you haven't cannonballed, you wouldn't know. You ever cannonballed?
I have.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It
What's
was
up,
good.
cannonball team?
Sounds like a
Cannonballers?
It sounds like a
What?
disconnect from the previous conversation.
Mm.
Is that
I
it?
know. I was trying to change
Yeah,
the
how do we
topic because you
solve-
won that debate. You were getting a
Yeah.
little. You were getting a little heated.
Nobody's
Yeah,
gonna
I don't heat. I don't heat.
No, I
I
can tell
reciprocate.
from your forehead wrinkle. I could
I
tell from your
recipro-
forehead wrinkle. You were
I
burning at
reciprocate.
99.7 degrees. I could
I
tell.
reciprocate information. So there's emotions and words that slice like a sword, right? Well, that needs to be
No.
reinforced with emotions. It does because there's a rigidity to it, right? If
More
there's
like
a
a
specific dynamic, if there's a specific conversation, and there's words that are cutting instead of settling into a conversation, well, it needs to be stabilized. So that's what I'm doing. stabilizing
know.
the situation. So you know where the boundary is, right?
Yeah, I took some Imodium, so I'm stabilizing that shit, and it's
Mm.
gonna be
Oh,
out
you did.
later. Yep.
So I'm just stabilizing the external of it, right? So
Well, not
not
yet.
to not
Later,
to
I'm
continue the
gonna
negative,
externalize
but
it.
to
I'm
speak with
popping that in the
positivity.
toilet,
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you need,
and it should be solid.
Freaking hilarious! Oh, I'm so entertained and amused by the content of what's coming out of your mouth. Hilarious.
Just
All right,
wait.
so
Just wait.
at least this
It
time
went
it's
in my
not.
mouth earlier, and guess what comes out later? That comes out my butt.
Things that people say. So, what do we do
Nah,
to
it
set
just reminded me of my
standards
friend
of
Craig, so I thought I could crack a joke.
politics?
Man, tough crowd, tough crowd.
well, it's
How do
more.
we set-
It's not just cracking a joke. It's easing anxiety, right? Because a
I
joke
know.
is only a joke when it's funny. When it's a joke
Well,
that comes
no,
at the expense of somebody else, that's a stab.
no.
That's passive
I thought you were
comedian.
talking about my shit.
Yeah.
Every time I
I'm,
shit,
I'm,
my
I'm
anxiety
talking about
lowers
the.
every time. I
Oh,
think it
I'm
goes
talking about
with every
passive
piece of
comedy.
fecal.
Yeah, I'm talking about passive comedy. That doesn't work. With me, the moment you say it, I'm saying something right back to you. Because at the end of the day, you
Yeah,
can keep it
right.
to yourself.
Yeah,
So
right.
when it's something that's negative, right? Make it funny.
No
Make it
way.
general, or make it about yourself. But you don't say a joke in the expense of other people.
Yes, I
I'm not
do.
gonna
Right.
follow
I
that.
do all the time. I do it to their face too.
You won't have many
Guess what?
friends.
You could do that shit somewhere
Well, I didn't
else.
care about that. I care about laughing. You said it was.
You don't care. Guess what?
It
But is
heals
that the
everything,
expense? Is that the
even if it's
expense
at
of
someone
another?
else's expense.
So
What
this
the
is what you
hell were
do
you
next.
saying in comedy school?
You mute
You
your mic.
changing your tone now.
Hey, you mute your mic because this is not a comedy show. If you want to go to a comedy show, you go to your mom's room, right?
No, it ain't that funny. I was in there earlier.
Yeah, hold on to those dildos, right? But
No,
Well, now
those
you
regardless,
just made it
dildos,
joke at his expense.
they are
So,
not like that.
but
Ooh.
that's because it started off. It started off with under me. The joke
No,
was through
that's
me. So
right.
what I'm
Poison.
doing
I go
is,
skiing on
is I'm giving
Wednesdays.
him a mirror.
I go skiing
I'm
on
giving him a
Wednesdays,
mirror
one day a week.
because he needs to understand the dynamic, right? Because if he doesn't understand where the tension is coming from, well, then
There's
he's
no
not going to see.
tension. There's no
There's
tension.
a the thing is
The
you want people
Imodium
to
hasn't
accept.
hit me yet.
I don't care about Modium. I care about the respect and the
No,
group.
I do. It came out like refried beans earlier.
Please stop
Hey,
talking
That was
about poop.
solid.
Holy shit.
You said I needed a
listen,
better
Where did the
posture. I
conversation
said
go?
I'll take some Imodium, and that was solid me up. A little twisted.
So, what do we do about the current state of world politics and U.S. politics when it comes to psychology? Do you think other countries
Shit
have
ain't
better
very
models?
good.
Do you think other countries have better models than we do? How do we do something about it? I mean, how do you get
Copy
into?
them like we always do. Just copy them. Say it was our idea.
Well, you can copy to a certain extent, but you have to make it your own too, because we have our own
We can
unique
use the
problems here in
TV.
this
We can
country.
totally use manipulation, and we could easily manipulate these people into being healthy again.
and that is part of the system.
It's
At
just
the end of
dumb.
the day,
It's so dumb it would work. Oh, there goes my phone.
I mean, it's not that it's dumb. It does work and it does exist. It's very known that people manipulate the situation to get a specific audience. I mean, social media does that. Entertainment
Yep.
does that. Music does that. I mean, there's a bunch of little micro influences, even macro influences from from massive sources, whether it's a business, family related. You have that dynamic in almost every spectrum. It's part of the process of breaking something down and building something up. Well, when it comes to that negative, right, the manipulation part, that's where we talk about that spectrum we were talking about, where manipulation isn't just something negative, right, where they're trying to get something out of you. Well, now that you talk about it, right, it sounds like a business. They're trying to get something out of you, but there has to be a way to for it to be positive, but also negative, because the negative is going to drive the correlated factor to it, the human experience, right? And that's what usually happens when we put out a product and we don't know how it's going to take to the society, right? And then we get all this negative feedback. Well, that's the fragmentation state. Now we're starting to see the cracks in the framework. Well, that's what reinforces it, that negative dynamic where we're understanding where the system's collapsed over time. Now we can reinforce it with something more positive, right? The same way a car, we can analyze how smoothly a car runs, but we can also analyze the way a car brakes in an accident, right? So we're reinforcing two systems of the two system that underline the key system.
Yeah, the key system. I think we all disagree on what that is too. I mean, we can continue to make progress.
So what happened? We disagree on what?
Oh, you said the key system. I think we disagree on what the key system is that we're all trying to go for,
The
or that we're
unified
trying to
system
pervert.
is the key
That's not really
system.
saying anything.
Yeah, when I'm saying key system, that's a unified system, a system that bridges both worlds. The rigidity of the world, right? The structured, the system that lacks the human experience, but we're also trying to balance it out with the human experience, right? The fluid dynamic of how can we live life um, career wise or with that work life balance, right? That specific dynamic. Oh, it's the same thing. Like you need to have that duality for there to be a specific unity for you to get that specific result, right? You can't just have supplies. You need to have the skills that come with the supplies.
We certainly seem to be lacking some skills, and or at least the skills are everywhere, but the ideologies are what's predominating. Yeah.
Okay.
Makes me want to move. Like, there are people really considering moving the country, or moving and leaving the country. So,
What are we talking about?
If I had a lot of money, I would. But I don't.
yeah.
But I
Were
don't
we
know.
not just talking
Well,
about the we were just talking about before? We're
I
talking
don't know.
about
I was trying to get the conversation back on track and get away from poop. That's all I was trying to do.
well, that's what I was doing. But you
Okay.
just said that you disagree with the key thing. What was the? That's what I'm trying to understand. What was
Oh, I didn't. I was saying the people just. We all disagree on what the key system is. You said we had
you were saying it generalized. I
subsystems.
thought you were saying in the conversation.
Oh no. It's
Oh.
systemic. It's a systemic disagreement about the system.
Yeah, I think there has to be some realignment again. I think that's what we're in. We're going to be forced to do that now.
Well, of
I think
course. But how do we do it?
all these situations they're putting us in this back to the life of being a Jew in Nazi Germany, right? There's I think we need to find a way to capture hope and utilize it to fuel a rebalancing of the human experience. I think there's gonna be a lot of collapses happening, and that's gonna really motivate people to want something more.
I believe we can do it.
At the end of the day, they'll find a way, and it always happens. Like, look at what they're doing now in the news with the Texas flood. Excuse me. They said, "Hey, we're having we had a flood. All these people died, and now there's people from Mexico coming to help search for the people." Right? That's one narrative. And you have the other narrative of specific heroes. Right? That's we're trying to take something extremely negative and we're trying to make it positive. But these are micro buildups, micro accumulation. Because when they say heroes and name people heroes, right, in the news, they're accumulation that builds up to what? A story. Story is what inspires people in the newspaper. It's a fractal, a fractal, how you call it? Daisy chain of events, positive events leading to a specific change, right? So if they were to just let it go and not say anything about the situation and say, "Oh, we sit here and mourn everybody has died," like that doesn't inspire anyone. It keeps them in that depression. So, well, how can they reinforce that in a healthy way? create a narrative. Show that, hey, there's someone that understands this pain because they've been through it, and they're gonna reinforce that by being a hero. That's a story.
Right. When I think of mourning like that, I also think of group mourning and the fact that we lack that. So look at the Maori of New Zealand. The Maori tribes, they have an extremely intense mourning process and burial process where they, I don't know if you've witnessed it, but there are videos where at the funeral procession they'll be yelling and screaming and letting their emotions out that way. It's yeah, I guess that's the way to say it. There's specific things that are shouted and other practices, but that's kind of it reminds me of where they mention in the Bible a person is mourning so deeply that they rend their clothing, they rip their clothes. Yeah. So there's lots of different processes, and it seems that this is also another one that's getting pathologized, where we're literally pathologizing the grieving process, where we think that if you spend more than 3 months in the 5 stages of grief that everybody has to go through, apparently, then you have extended grief disorder, or whatever the term is, I forget. And yeah, I mean, when I see that, that shows me that we're going way off into the deep end of categorization, to the extent that we're just disregarding people's processes. And the fact that suffering is indeed unique for each person, which is hypocritical to what they're saying when it comes to the neuroaffirmative care model.
So you don't think that's beneficial to do that? Put a warning sign where someone may resonate with? Because at the end of the day, that's what it is, right? Because if someone looks at that information and say, "Oh, I know that," now it's been a warning sign. It's like, hey, I know when it gets worse than this, it becomes a problem, right? Or that person, they can either acknowledge that it's becoming a problem, or they can sit in it and drowning it. So,
Oh yeah, I mean, it can be useful to have some kind of boundaries or to let people know. It's just you're really getting into stepping on toes. So there's an example. I have a relative who, one of my relatives married a woman who seems to have. She's really having a long time grieving over her father. She lost her father a year and a half ago or so, and it's still very much affecting her. And but she had a very close relationship with her father, more close than anyone apparently. So, does she have a disorder? I mean, I guess, but it is useful to put up some kind of warning signs with some things. You just don't want to pathologize too quickly. We're just too eager to do that. That's kind of also saying that.
but it gives it a direction, you know? At the end of the day, it gives it a direction. Because chaos needs to be organized, no matter what the situation is. If something negative happens, guess what? It has to be notated. I mean,
Right.
it's the
Okay. So
same.
that's where the models help, but the time limit is probably counterproductive or inaccurate. So the
But
5
what is
stages of grief. I mean, even that, like 5 stages, most people seem to go through those. That doesn't mean that you will, though. And so even when you say that, they're like, watch out for these 5 stages you're going to go through. Expect that. That can also lead people to becoming paranoid of that. But I mean, I guess it's better to have it than to not.
it's to embrace it.
Or
Really.
to like, yeah, because that helps with the naming. Like now I'm in the bargaining phase, and you can pretty much tell when you're in the bargaining phase, especially when you have the language to understand it. Of the bargaining phase.
Definitely.
Just get all angry. Like most people get angry, and extremely depressed. And you usually don't have all those at once, but sometimes you do, I guess.
I think it's prolonged. I think when an issue is prolonged, or there's a specific intensity to it, right? Because I think when it comes to that intensity, right,
The primary
it's
argument.
usually a deep wound that it addresses. So there's longevity in the precision of where it's hitting, but on the outside of it, you also have that opposite dynamic where it's fuck. Hold
Intensity
on.
and duration.
Intensity of what?
Intensity and duration. Those
Oh,
are
duration.
those are
Okay.
the primary arguments that
Yeah,
people
and
give.
then there's a duration to it where it's prolonged. Yeah, it's the exposure to it, right? When you're in a prolonged state, uh, there's a buildup to it where a prolonged state can lead to resentment, right? Little micro buildups of negative interactions. It's going to lead to that specific collapse as well, right? So it's not just in the moment, surface level, right? It's also the long term. How can you take that and better integrate it? Because that's two ends of the spectrum. Because one is precision, and one is depth of understanding. Right, they're what they used to attack this person had emotional weight to it. It wasn't direct, but I'm trying to remember what the fuck we were talking about. I was trying to get back to it, but I kind of went off.
Reading process.
Oh, creative process. There you go. Um, yeah, so there's a specific dynamic to it, right? So sometimes something hits, and then sometimes the grieving process is prolonged, where it's just a bunch of negative interactions of the same shit happening, right? Someone's grieving over having a shitty relationship with a partner, but they're not aware of what's remained the same, right? So there's grievance in that. When you're sitting in that specific mentality for a prolonged time, it's like uh, it's like your mind has to find a way to make sense of this prolonged exposure of chaos, right? So that does something, but we need to be able to mark it. I
The
think, yeah.
chaos. I mean, yeah. So I guess that's a chaotic state. I think, man, I don't mean to keep questioning you, bro. I
No, do
do
that. I
understand.
want you to keep doing it because then I can
Yeah.
Flush it
verify
out.
in real time. Yeah.
So the
So
chaos. You do use that term a lot. So does Jordan Peterson. The chaos order dichotomy. That's been in philosophy for thousands of years and politics because it's so easy to see it. It's very easy to map onto all of life situations. Your brain is in an erratic state. You want to bring it back into regulation. You want to bring order to the chaos. So in grieving, I don't know that that's so much chaos. I think it's more useful to call it something more emotion based, something more of a process that everybody has to go through. It's existential in nature. It's a rite of passage, and it doesn't have to. No part of that has to be chaotic, but it can lead to dysregulation, or it can lead to erratic states of mind and brain that the individual likely will not know how to handle unless they're taught. When I've lost loved ones and lost my dog last year, that yeah, I was aware of the process, and I still was not prepared for the pain, the suffering that caused the depression. But to bring myself into, I guess, more established health or order, I guess, uh, yeah, I did have to go through that. But it's also there's an insinuation that you're going to be healed completely too, which is a lot of people when they look at meditation, they think that that's going to heal all their problems. This is just one example of where we tend to go too far with expectations about transcendence and that kind of thing, especially when you use words like transcendence, because you don't ever fully overcome. I don't think you always carry a piece of the person with you once they're gone, and when you're reminded of that, that'll sometimes lead you to sadness, but ideally it would lead you to joy. Maybe that's something that we just tell ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's one that I'm very wary about pathologizing because it is a rite of passage that all of us have to go through. But you could say you have grief, prolonged grief disorder. That I think that's actually what it's called. Yeah, prolonged grief disorder. And I don't know that it's right for me to make the assumption that my friend's or my relative's wife is she's not grieving in the right way because she's still grieving severely after a year and a half after losing her very close brother. But I don't know. Those are just ideas.
No,
It's a fine line.
yeah, I think it's yeah. I mean, I think you have to acknowledge that exposure. With, I mean, it's the only way we can truly scale a system, right? How long can it last, and what's happening during this specific period? I think that's the only. It goes back to that card dynamic we were talking about before, where it's like, how long do we want this problem to persist? You know, the aluminum Ford trucks breaking down like crazy, or when they get in an accident and they're being torn apart. Well, how long do they want that issue to be present? Well, you got to address it. So it's the same dynamic here. Like you want that specific exposure, you just don't want it to get out of hand. Hmm?
Exposure to what?
Exposure to chaos, to anything. I guess to anything that causes disruption or dissonance or discomfort. Like, there has to be a
Yeah,
balance, right? Because you can
great.
go on a trial run and be aware of what the trial is going to be, but sometimes you're going to go into a situation and you might be troubled by error. So there's it goes back to that dynamic we were talking about. Got to keep it balanced. Be open enough to experience and be closed off enough to protect yourself, so that you're stable.
Yeah, you have
Stability.
to integrate. I think you might benefit from using that word or integration and forming a relationship with ... So you have prolonged grief. You have to form a relationship with your emotions and with your experiences, those that you can't completely overcome. You must form a relationship with or integrate somehow. Like Jung's shadow, you got to integrate the shadow, like we talked about before.
Hmm.
Shadow. Shadow.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with grief. Yeah, with death in general. So it's like it's something that I've normalized for years. But it's also something I've addressed because normalizing something like that you shouldn't be doing. So yeah, there's a definitely a balance that has to be addressed when going into doing stuff like that. It's like you don't want to overexpose yourself. It's the same thing to overexposing yourself to something positive, right? You know, people who love thrill rides and they go what is it, skydiving, mountain jumping, fucking mountain biking through crazy trails. Like it gives them that adrenaline, that rush to reach for the skies. So you can reach for the skies and you can die, just like you can reach for a grave and also die. You know, there's a or reach for the ocean on the edge of a cliff. There's a up, bottom collapse and bottom up collapse.
Yeah.
So what I want you guys to do is when I speak, if there's something that you guys aren't catching on to or you don't have anything to say, I want to be able to zoom in so that there's possibility for discussion.
I feel
Right?
you.
So if there's a specific reinforcement I need to make where I need to make things more clear, ask questions. Because it's like over time I'm gonna start to doubt myself because there's no reciprocation. There's no mirroring. There's no hey yeah blah 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 blah. It's why we have these conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And for all that, I can just speak to my freaking dry race board. You know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we just need more duality. Like I said, people got to understand that things aren't so black and white. No matter on most topics, like yes, being stoic or being whatever, all that stuff is good, but also the opposite is bad. Or too much of it is bad, and then going the opposite way is just as equally probably as bad, and then it's just things like that.
Yeah. I like to use the in politics, people say I tend to lean left on this topic, and on this topic I tend to lean more conservative. This topic I tend to lean more liberal. You could say that when it comes to psychology too. When it comes to death and grieving, I want to lean more empathetic, and I tend to lean more empathetic too. Oh, that's a useful exercise for watching for your own biases too.
You know, one of the dynamics I was looking at was the evolution of of death, right? Where there's a specific place that death happens, and I'm not saying like the moment it happens, right? Where they're wherever the case is, where you got hit by a car or died in a hospital, the transition to like a graveyard, for instance, where there's a specific place that everyone in the world, no matter what the situation, there's always some unity there, where there's a connection between good and evil in the same place, almost like a superposition, right? So it comes back to that duality. And the one thing I observed in in the chaotic environment I was raised in is I noticed that outside of being in a graveyard, at a burial, there there's always a specific dynamic that happens, right? It's extreme rigidity where I'm gonna be stoic and I'm gonna make sure that nobody can see my vulnerabilities,
Yep.
right? But then there's a moment where when you go to a burial or a funeral, that's when there's just stillness. There's just pure emotions, but it's structured enough, right? So it's not like sure it's heavy, depressing, and sad, but it's a controlled environment. So where usually you would see a place like that as extremely chaotic because well, is extremely disruptive to see your to see a significant other at a funeral, dead or whatever the case is, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't matter if it's good or evil. The person, there's always a specific dynamic that happens in graveyards where most of the time it doesn't happen anywhere else. So why is it that there's a stillness within death, but there's not a stillness within motion?
I
Or
think
maybe there is.
I would say
But
because death is final, so people know like this is my last. This is the last goodbye that they're gonna be present for. Because once they're in the grave, all they become now is thoughts. My thoughts, which are important, obviously, but like it's not the same. You know what I'm saying?
okay, so now, yeah, no, that's perfect. I wanted you to say something like that. Perfect. So now, is it only so if you look at that dynamic again, the funeral dynamic,
Uh-huh.
is it only still is it only still for death of the person, or is it both, or is it opposite? Right?
I
Because
think it's a
think
death
about
of
it.
you. I think it's a death of a part of your life. So like this, the same.
Yes,
I would say the
death and the
same. I would say the same feelings happen the last time, like if you know this is gonna be the last time you're gonna see like your high school friends, whatever, like all those kind of situations, like they're not dying and you actually have potential to see them. However, you still in your head treat it like, fuck, man, this is the last time I'm gonna have. This is the last football game I'm gonna have with my homies. This is the last, last day of senior school, and you kind of have that sad fucking negative feelings. I bet they're very similar to like the death feeling. But like I said, it's weird because you still have potential for life and having, you might actually see these people again. Probably not, but there is a chance, right? But like with death, it's final. So like those feelings of grief and like the what ifs, the what could I, all that kind of things. I think all those kind of tie in together.
No, you do perfect, and that's where I want to get to, where a lot of the times we don't see that death is actually emotion as well, right?
True.
Because for the moment there's stillness at the funeral,
Yep.
but that death is it carries on, right? Because there's still a fragmentation within the person that survived, right? So
It
taking
depends on
that
the
fragmentation, there's a specific there's a specific dynamic that they're trying to reinforce after, right? Because for the people who lose, people who are extremely close to them, that leaves a big hole. So that hole can be filled in so many ways. But a lot of the times, people either get trapped in the grieving where it's prolonged and it becomes something negative, or they take the grievance and they turn it into inspiration.
Yeah.
Where it's like, okay, what can I do to make the, or whether it's, hey, I want to make this person proud, or hey, I want to present this person in what I'm trying to create. There's a whole bunch of different dynamics that can happen that'll allow that person to reinforce that specific loss, right? So what I'm saying is, when you're looking at society, there's a specific collapse, micro collapse that happens within the interactions that we have with people, right? Because we don't know what goes on underneath. We don't know if this guy just killed someone. We don't know if this person just lost their mother in the morning, but we pass by them and everything is controlled, right?
Yeah.
So there's a system that allows the system to not get too out of whack, right? There's a regulator within the business hierarchies that we created to manage this societal best morality.
Sure.
The word?
Maybe.
Yeah,
Well,
it works.
I think you have to look at the difference between cultures and the funeral procession too. So there's sometimes silence, but like we were talking about before with the Maori, it's quite the opposite. They're literally just shouting at the top of their lungs to express their feelings. And then there's also like based on request. Like when I mean, okay, I used to want to try to throw a huge shindig for my funeral and have a lot of silly music playing. Now I don't know how to think about it anymore, but some people say they'd like to do that, and I'd like to be in that state too. But it is like you're saying, it's a structure. It's something that's meant to act as a containment, as you like to call it. And I think there is so much variance with that. But it is that we're all trying to grieve together, and we're all trying to go through this process in a way that's kind of standardized, and it'll never fully serve anyone. Just like we're doing with psychology and politics too, and systems at different scales. But also, another point with that. So the cultural influence of this, I bring this up because I don't know how to think about that either. It's just such a big problem in psychology. It's just how deeply culturally influenced that is. Like the Maori, we're so deeply interconnected and interdependent, and the individualism that we have going on in the West, we're in the weird world, as Joseph Henrich describes it in his book of the same name. It's Western, educated, industrialized, rich, and democratic nations. It's weird. Not necessarily bad, it's just new, it's novel, and it's strange. And it necessarily isolates. So that's his model. Mine is the Orthocadia model. Wally, I should probably send you that too. You probably
Okay.
get some use out of that.
If Katie heard that before, I think you guys spoke about it before.
We talked about it at the beginning of tonight's discussion, actually. We were talking about my book, and that was one of the things brought up.
Okay.
It's about 2/3 of the way through. So, I dropped the book in the chat. Actually, you can just quick navigate. Yeah,
Okay,
Control
gotcha.
F. Yeah, you should be able to find Orthocadia. It's an acronym for the kind of culture that we have now, and also the lack of culture that we have. And because we have such a deep lack of cultural integration and connectedness and interdependence, it's independence. We're doing the opposite. It is individualism, independence, and everybody's left to their own devices to figure things out because we have the mixed culture. And so immediately when you start sounding like that, you start saying it's like traditionalist conservatism, where we have to get all these people of different races out of our country, all that, because we're too much of a cultural mixing pot. And that's certainly not what I'm implying either.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying this is where we are. This is the weird world we occupy. That's the weirdness of the industrialized age, late stage corporatism and capitalism, and what that creates. And we are in a culture that's trying to integrate and blend different cultures together, but we fight and we don't agree on it. And so what we're left with is pathology. What we're left with is the science and the hardcore scientism of neurobiology and neuropathologies. Because we don't have anything else. We can't say that you're culturally deficient in this term. Like, there's the I got to refresh on my terminology. So there are whole phrases and sentences that describe depression and describe schizophrenia in different cultures that imply more cultural involvement and more mutual suffering, and that we're all going through this, and also implies more of a rite of passage. And you don't have anything like that here because we don't have those traditions built. We don't have that language built into the culture. We piece it together from different cultures. That is English, basically.
I mean, the dynamic happens in chaotic environments. In the hood, you have that same dynamic. It happens. It's what people call gangs. The only difference is it's labeled in a different part of the spectrum. It's a variation of the same thing. It's what we make it is what allows it to be a containment. So I mean, yeah, it's what we make it is what allows it to be a containment. So I mean, yeah, I'll go back to what you're saying. There's a spectrum to it.
There's always a spectrum to everything.
Because I'm sure you can see the West. The dynamic in the West is very similar to the dynamic in the East in some way, in some micro town or city, right? There's, oh yeah, this reminds me of New York City. It's part of the integration process. Just like Japan's been creating a lot more cities. Well, it's known for having how do you call it, sanctuaries and dojos and all these ancient buildings that haven't been modernized yet.
Well, think
So, I
about
mean,
like
you
even
see
like
the-
in
you
New
see
York.
the-
Think about like in New York City and shit. Like we have like little China, we have like little Italy town, little Sicily. Like it's all to keep that little part of their culture. Like we're obviously changing. Like we're moving from Italy to America. Like we understand that we're gonna be Americans, but we want to keep this little part of us. Like we don't want to lose our part of our history or our culture, whatever you fucking call it. So I think that's that's kind of an important big thing that people don't realize. Like these people do this culture or shit. Like
It keeps
it's
morale
fine.
up in moments.
Well, yeah, I mean it's great. It's great to change, and obviously whatever like it's good, But like you also don't want to lose everything that you were before. It's a fine
That
line.
was something I mean, it's the same reason why people become homesick, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like they want that comfort. They want that. There's people that they will sabotage their whole life because they see comfort. They see comfort in drama and fighting and living that fast-paced life. That would ruin you in the long term. I mean, sure, it shapes you in the short term. I think there has to be that transition between moving fast and slowing down so you really understand what's happening. And I think that kind of correlates to what we were talking about earlier with the mindset, right? Because what happens when we slow down? Some people don't like that. Well, they want to keep
Yeah.
their mind busy, so they'll write, they'll come up with ideas, and they'll entertain their mind because they're afraid of what slowing down does to the brain. The slowing down that breaks the brain.
Sometimes they're
Because
running
we're-
away from some psychological pain too. Like the reason why they keep their mind fucking going is because if I have some trauma or whatever the fuck it is that's negative in my life that I can't get over, well, as long as I'm in my work, or as long as I'm if I'm working, building things with my hands, if I'm doing something, it's less time for me to have to stop and think about the negative thing that I don't want to think about.
Climbing out of the spiral. I mean, that's what we all do.
That's the A avoidance of the quintuple A model I'm working with. So avoidance is an option, and sometimes that's necessary. Sometimes if your country is so fucked up and you have the opportunity to get the fuck out, you should get the fuck out. Or move to another state if you have the privilege and the financial privilege to be able to do such a thing.
Yep.
That can be a mentally healthy move to make. But also you can do avoidance to the extent that you're just avoiding the problem and keeping yourself occupied. And sometimes it's appropriate to do that too. You need to keep your nose to the grindstone and stay occupied, because that's what we always did as a species up until very recently when we began hyper-focusing on all of our pathologies.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of instilled in
There's
our
both.
DNA now at this point. To kind of like I always try to preface, like the reason why I think men are better at compartmentalizing in general is because for hundreds of thousands of years we've been fighting and killing, and we learned that we can't just fucking fight and kill and then come home and have that same mentality at home life because you kill your kids or whatever, you know, like when you snap. So you had to you had to separate yourself and become two different people. I'm the hunter gatherer, fucking warrior, this person here, but when I'm at home, I'm this person, you know, and you have to shut off that primitive state. So I think that's what's helped men in general. Like nowadays, we can. It's not necessarily the best way, but we can put our emotions aside. We can do all these things that women tend to not do as well
man.
because of that.
Dude, that's so accurate. And
Understand
you see the extremes of when this is avoided in law enforcement in the U.S. So there are reports of law enforcement officers that choose to take double shifts because they find that their life is more exciting at work than it is at home.
Yep. I know people. This guy that comes to my bar, he's a former cop. So I mean, he tells me. Actually, he told me today. He's like, I'm just gonna tell you. There's only been 2 times in my life, but my car's gotten air and shit. He's like, you don't know the fucking thrill of it. And I'm like, dude, I bet not, dude. Like, because he always tells me like all these little moments. Like, yeah, dude. If you felt like that, I get why you fucking have those kind of thought processes, and you're kind of this person because you are a thrill seeker and this kind of, you know, like, I don't know. That to me wouldn't want me to do it. Or, you know, want me to become a cop, I suppose. But you know, whatever, teach his own.
So a psychology profile would be useful there because you don't want to hire thrill seekers as police officers.
Nope, not totally. I mean, they're
Why
good. They
not?
have their purpose,
Why
but
not?
they're not the only best way, or whatever you want to call it. You know.
Hold on, so you just said that. Why not?
Well, I kind of said that pretty quick. I mean, the people that are prone to seeking excitement, especially at other people's expense, I mostly mean to emphasize the lack of psychological profiling that goes on and psych evaluation in the United States
Yeah,
police
the
officers.
person that's gonna fucking try to tone it down instead of ramp it back up. That's kind of I think that's kind of what he's getting at. Like honestly,
Well, it's also
there probably should be like a psychologist or like a social worker or somebody should actually probably be riding along with the cops that are like
no,
the opposite.
that's what I'm saying. We have psychologists that are trained to work specifically with police officer evaluation, but they're extremely rare. They're extremely underfunded and extremely rare. You might have one psych evaluation for your entire department once a
I
year
know.
if you're lucky.
I'm talking about.
That's usually in the blue state.
You're not wrong. Yeah, I get that. But I'm talking about more like. I'm talking about like in the car with them. So like when you have a police officer in a situation where like that needs to fucking slow down, you know, or whatever kind of thing. Like they need that opposite instead of person just want to ramp up the situation, the de-escalators versus the escalator. Because I think that's a lot of problems. Like as a person that bartends, I always say like, dude, I gotten really good at fucking trying to stop fights and shit before they happen. You know, like because you kind of see it happen. You know, like, but like if you're a person that wanted to fight, right, or is hot-headed in general, you might antagonize the fight more just so you can get into it. You know what I'm saying? That kind of shit.
Yep. Yeah. I also think that's. I don't know that you could do it because of the danger involved, but maybe you could have an AI assistant pulling that role. It'd be hard to pull off. But
That would be. I mean, you
So
got.
you don't think
Eventually,
you
you're
don't
probably
think
get
a
a
system
robot.
like that exists? You don't think a system exists like that already?
well, I don't know. I haven't looked into it.
I don't think
I
so.
mean, maybe
Do
you
you think,
could have.
no, obviously not, because cops just roll around with other cops, which you might get lucky and get somebody
Yeah.
who's kind of opposite of you, but in general, they still have the same training, the same whatever. So like, you don't have somebody that's literally trained to be like, all right, let's actually slow the fuck down. Let's think about this, you know, like to like the person that wants to commit suicide, or you know, like that person, like jumping off a bridge, like. It would be nice if you had somebody there that knew how to fucking de-escalate instead of fucking someone that knows how to escalate, to ramp it up, you know. Because like a cop
Yeah,
that might
there's
not
no
know anything, they'll
good-
just be like, "Don't do it." But a person like that might be a shrink or whatever. Let's say they might know how to fucking actually like empathize and get to the person's level so they can talk them out of the situation without just saying like, "Don't do it," don't, you know, just basic doesn't help anything, you know, like, or in a bunch of different situations. But yeah,
Yeah, those are negotiators, and they're also really expensive and rare.
yes,
Yeah, but I think those policies are put in place for a reason, right? Because it's what allows the system to not allow um, specific people in only, right? Where if they leave the system to be flexible, at the interview process, right, where they're going through the psychological profile. Well, if they were to make that paper that paper very specific to the type of person that they wanted, well, they wouldn't get that because a lot of people that look for that sort of reciprocation in I guess in the pursuit of what they're looking for. Does that make sense? There's a limitation that's going to be put on the system, right? Where now they're not going to get the people that can handle the chaos well, because just because those people are bad, when they're put into a good situation, they're going to make the system extremely efficient. But there has to be a place for it, right? So as long as the system is controlled by a bigger system, it makes sure that system doesn't get out of hand. Meaning that the more shit that comes to light, that's when there starts to be accumulation of, hey, there's something that's negative that's usually hidden. There's something coming out. What the hell are we gonna do? That's where narrative comes in. Narrative allows you to reinforce that and say, oh well, look at the Diddy situation. He got acquitted on 3 different things, but there were still things that he didn't get sentenced for. There's a specific dynamic to that specific interaction. He has a lot of pull. He has a lot of connections. He has a lot of strings in different areas that if they were to put him to go to prison for the rest of his life, that'll cost them money in the long term. There's specific dynamics that need to happen where, yeah, you wanna force it to be stable, but you also want to let it breathe so that there is chaos within the system, because that's what allows the system to become better. A lot of it is hidden, but the more it accumulates over time, the more it becomes visible, and that's when people decide the good. They decide that, hey, this needs to be fixed. So it's sort of the same thing that's happening now, with this integration process. All the collapse points that's happening, it influences the next change. So yeah. Questions, answers?
Ugh.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I'm checking right now. Yeah.
I don't know.
I have confidence that we'll figure it
What?
out.
I gotta get up early. Get in my apartment tomorrow.
You gotta get up early.
Well, I think they open at 9, so I have to wait because I have to get the meter number for the apartment, because when I try to set up the electric, it didn't register. So I gotta do all that.
Moving. Yeah, man. Congratulations.
As always, I appreciate it.
Hell yeah, it was a great combo.
I'm ready to get out of this dark ass house. It's like a fucking prison in this bitch.
You rent this house?
It's dark.
Happy for you.
Yeah, I rent this apartment. It was an apartment, but yeah, it's dark. Like, you see how dark it is right now?
Yeah.
That's how it is during it.
Eh.
Because there's only one window.
Oh, really?
And
Shitty.
it's the patio. Yeah. There's walls that cover the patio, and then there's like an opening.
Yeah.
So you have the patio, and then you have one little small window that aims towards the living room.
Yeah.
Like the worst
Angle.
angle. Fucking retarded.
Yeah. That's just.
Oh, I need to get out of here.
I feel that.
Need some light. My
Hey
plants are
man,
even
the thing
fucking
is
dying.
also, you knowing that you have to get the fuck out just makes it like so much worse. Like you have to, like, it's a drag on your mentality and everything at this point, probably.
Okay,
it's
you know
mentally
what
draining.
it's like to fucking wake up and then go into a living room that's supposed to be brighter than your bedroom. Like, my bedroom is super bright because the windows are massive. Like, oh, it's nice, the sun's coming in. And I feel like I'm in a fucking prison. Even working at this fucking desk sucks.
It's useful to examine light exposure. I was really into that for a while, and I learned a lot from Andrew Huberman actually on how light affects the supracosmetic nucleus in the pineal gland. the functionality of all of your cells. Literally, the suprachiasmatic nucleus sends signals to all of your cells to tell them to wake up when it receives blue light from a particular angle. From 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., the solar axis is right for the right wavelengths of blue light to enter your eyes and to hit that nucleus and start waking your cells up. And the opposite is true when you go to bed. You start producing noradrenaline and melatonin and
No,
other
blue
things.
light,
When sunset comes through, so with the orange hues and all that, that's that can trigger that. So you can supplement those, and you can also use black curtains to keep it dark in your room and all that. And then when you want it to be the right color temperature in the morning, you can get a sunlight or a sun lamp, I think, that's supposed to imitate the correct wavelengths at the right times of day. You can also like set it for whatever day or whatever time of day you want, but I would advise actually setting it to the sun.
it makes sense of what you surround yourself to. If there's specific triggers that keep you up in your bedroom. So like being on your phone in bed,
Mm-hmm.
what it's doing is preparing your mind to stay up instead of to go to sleep, right?
Yeah, that's
So
also those blue light frequencies directly into your eyeballs. It's really
yeah,
bad.
even the motion, it's like you're preparing your brain to move to a specific frequency. When you're interacting with something that isn't exactly physical, right? And you're still in bed. Aside from it being a phone, there's still a lack of connection that's happening, right? Because it's the first thing you're doing when you're waking up. So it's like you wanna prepare yourself for a specific interaction. So that's why when you get up, usually it's the best to just get up, do your stretch, go to the sink, splash your face. It wakes up the nerves in your face with cold water, or it stimulates the nerves with cold water. And what does that do? I think it increases your fight or flight response, the serotonin. It it triggers a specific, yeah, it triggers your stress hormone. It's cold. It's a perceived threat. So yeah, it triggers your is it Harrison.
You also need to lower your body temperature. So to go to sleep, your body temperature is supposed to lower by 2 to 3 degrees. So keeping a fan with you, keeping a cool bed if you have one of those cooling beds or breathable sheets and all that. And you can also lower your screen. Like your TV screen's really bright. I noticed the other night. You may benefit from lowering the brightness very, very significantly, and
Yeah,
also color temperature if you can
well,
do.
it's because of the display it was on. So when it gets that bright, it's usually my ambient display. So I have like this. I put like white walls everywhere, so it's super bright. But yeah, when I'm playing the game, I have it adjusted to a specific display. So yeah, I don't watch my stuff like that. It's just very specific on what page I'm on. But yeah, it is bright. It is bright though.
Yeah, I noticed it the other night. I was like, "Holy shit, dude! You're like bringing
I
it
was using
extremely light."
for the background.
It's funny. This is mustard, by the way. I'm not farting.
Mm. Mustard.
Mustard? Yeah, I wonder why the other guy left.
Which one? My buddy, the religious guy, or the joke
I don't know
guy?
who that guy. The one who just joke guy, I guess.
The joke one? Buford.
Joke?
Yeah.
Yeah, Buford.
Probably because he's always trying to be joking and like I think he finally got like we were trying to have a more serious conversation. Like I talked to him like when we were talking about sports and shit. Like we're just bullshitting. I'm like yeah, come hop on. Like it's like my buddy Teddy and Steph. Like they'll come hang out when no one's on and shit. We'll just joke and have fun and stuff. But like if they see like I'm talking to you or DS or whoever, they'll be like all right, we'll talk later. It's more of a serious conversation.
Yeah, I wish you guys are people that can analyze people. It's
Yeah.
always something I want to like talking to people about. It's like the way I've always looked at it is when I say things like this, I'm always like the type of person that like to speak to someone that also thinks in the same way. I guess a positive way of, hey, like we noticed that they were doing this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not necessarily in our control because well, it's their life. But it's
Yeah.
like being a person that cares for someone. There's there's a specific push you wanna to introduce to the situation, and it's like talking with someone is being able to refine that push into something I guess better and um, yeah, gets better.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I like to talk to people about what they noticed, or there's a specific dynamic that I noticed that they didn't notice, or vice versa.
Yeah. I can pretty much. I try to talk to anybody about anything. Like I said, if you want to joke and have fun, I mean, I can have those conversations. If you want to, like I said, just kind of just depends on who and what, like how the conversation's going. Like if we're gonna have like a nuanced good conversation, I love those. You know, if we're gonna have like a fucking screaming, you're just a stupid ass argument. You know, like we're just talking shit. I don't mind those either. If you want to have a fucking talk about sports, you want to talk about politics, you want to talk about philosophy, like whatever. Like I just try to be open to whatever someone wants to talk about. If if it causes communication, I try to steer it in a productive one, but sometimes I feel like it's just impossible to do. But I try. I gotten a couple of my Trump voter people finally starting to see some of the lies and shit that I've been like they've finally been like, yeah, even I have to ask questions. I'm like, oh, like you're starting to see like and I try to be empathetic to them because I'm like, it feels bad when it feels horrible when you get used, right? Like that like instead of doing the whole like I told you so, I was just like, no man, you got used, right? And it kind of sucks. These people use you for your vote. Doesn't that just make you feel like really shitty, like and that kind of thing? And because I know that's how they're starting to feel. Yeah, I'm saying they're starting to feel it like man, I should not have done what I did.
Yeah, that's uncomfortable for everybody, but that's like at the end of the day, it was a decision in the moment.
I know.
It's when you feel a specific way, you feel threatened, and a person feels safer than the other. Well, it's not that you made the wrong decision; it's that there's a specific change that needs to happen, right? And if something gets approved versus the other, where they're rejecting the other side, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're not necessarily there's there's a reason for that specific result. So it's not that they should feel ashamed of what happened. I think they need to
No,
address the underlying reason and what inspired them to make that decision,
I agree.
right?
That
Because
is more important.
there's specific things that they agreed with, but
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't the right decision.
Yep.
And if it was the right decision, well, how can we see that it wasn't a bad decision? I think there's always a parallel at play, right?
Yeah.
Because there's people that voted for Trump and
Mm-hmm.
that they wanted to see positive change,
For sure.
and the people who went against him, well, now they're seeing all the chaos, but they're still blinded by the actual truth.
A lot of
It's
them
like, I mean, everybody is. So there's always that duality to what people are understanding, and I think that's why being self-aware and aware is extremely important, because now you're able to navigate that yourself without having to lean on people to tell you information.
are. Mm-hmm.
Like, you learn to see your own truth and what resonates with your nervous system. Like, you don't got to worry about whether someone's going to deceive you. Like, you're staying true to yourself. If something
That's
feels off, you address it.
that's
So
what I try to tell
it works
people.
in those micro.
That's what I try to tell people. I always tell people like when I vote and think or talk about politics or whatever, I try to stay true to my principles. Not really about part. Like I lean blue, but like if they fuck up or whatever happens, I will call them out because it's not about the party itself or whatever. It's about the principle. The idea is I believe in this. It's not the name. The DR don't fucking matter. That's why like the few times that Republican people do things I like. I try to share it on Facebook and shit. I try to give them a shout out. Like, see, we can have reasonable people that are on that side. Like, it's not impossible. It's just it's becoming more rare nowadays with the whole mega movement, but like it is possible.
Yep.
We can have nuanced, good conversations. Like in the end, like I'm saying, I go back to the parent thing. Like both sides are wrong if it's fully that side. Like you need both sides. You need the mom and the dad in the sense like you need the nurturing person, you need the person that cares, and you need the person that fucking tells you, you know, to fucking nut up or shut up. You need a little bit of both. You can't have all or one, you know, or all of either side.
That's where the fragmentation comes, and there's a variation of a specific result that you were looking for, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, it goes back to that balance.
it is.
You can kind of see that dynamic in stores as well, where let's say they're trying to create a specific product, right? And the product doesn't meet their standards. Well, they can either throw away the shit and lose money in the long term, right? They're not getting the product exactly the way they want it. Well, that builds up. So when you look at that build up, how can we turn this trash, right? This unacceptable material or material. How can we make this? You see, what's the word for? Is it beneficial? No, it's something in finances where something that's usually a deficit, it becomes something else. Fuck, I can't remember the word.
It's a okay, what, are you
Anyway.
what is it? What are you asking for? It's a deficit, and what happens?
So when there's a deficit, there's a specific reinforcement that's made to balance out that deficit. There's a specific word. So I couldn't remember the word, but what they do is they create microsystems that like micro stores. So for instance, there's specific brands that they sell quality shit, extremely expensive, and then there's off-brand companies that, or they're not off-brand because they're branded, but there's other companies that sell the same material for a cheaper price. Well, those stores are all connected to each other. They all reinforce the loss that they're trying to compensate for, right? Where they can not throw away this trash, they can sell it at this store and still make money. That way, it's reinforcing the core of the system, and it's the same way that works in politics, where each system reinforces each other in a specific way. It's why all these dynamics happen, or all these interactions happen between different countries. There's something that's being entangled, right, in our interactions that stabilize the overall stability of the global economy.
Global
Is
what?
that the word for it? It's the global. I don't want to just say dynamic because I want to be
Market?
specific with this.
Global market? Global marketplace?
Well, it's like the overall. It's not just like a market. It's like the overall
Just
balance
macroeconomics?
of the goal. I guess global harmony. Global harmony, right? So there's specific things that happen, specific entanglements that help stabilize the system overall. Whether it's this, whether it's one of the things that happen in the trade wars, right, where they're reinforcing a specific part of the interaction, right, and then maybe you have a law that passes, or I don't want to use that example, but anyway, there's a bunch of different dynamics that happen with different countries, right? So there's always a negative reinforcing the positive, right? So you're always going to have that compare and contrast no matter what part of the system you're in, right? Whether it's the West or the East or New Jersey or fucking Texas. There's always going to be that dynamic where they're reinforcing each other, both negative and positive.
Yeah. So in the very beginning, like I can't remember, I think it's like the first 4 to 5 presidents, all they did was whoever ran for president, right? There was like 6 to 8 people running for president. Whoever finished top 2, you were the president and vice president. There was no party, like, so you literally had to run and think with somebody that was opposite of you. You know, like if I won president and the Democrats won second place, I'd have to run with a Democratic vice president who's going to put me in check, or at least be the opposite thought process of what I thought and believe. You know, it's going to be a little bit different kind of thing. So I kind of like that idea where it's like you're kind of forced to work with your enemy, or whatever you would call them. Like because I feel like it's good because you shouldn't have you shouldn't just be surrounded by yes men. That's never a good thing. Nothing good happens when everyone just goes yep, 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 yep. You need some conflict to fucking promote good things for the benefit of most people.
Yeah, definitely. And you don't want it publicized yeah, you don't want it publicized like that. Like there's always things that are going to be hidden. And there's always that dynamic that happens between political campaigns. But there's there's always stability underneath the certainty, I guess. And I guess this certainty will parallel uh, to what they allow society to see. It has to
You
be
know
a
what?
balance. They can't feel starved of information, but they also can't be given everything.
You know what's worse than being surrounded by yes men? Being surrounded by yes men that also have their own perverse incentives and are
Yep.
also incredibly corrupt. That's what we have in the Trump presidency right now.
True.
Pete Hegseth literally hit up the ICE enforcement officers saying, "Why aren't you guys down at the Home Depot getting these guys?"
Yeah, no, it's fucked
That's
up.
insane.
It's
He has them.
I love
He has them arresting them while they're going to the court, while they're trying to obey the laws
I know,
right
that's-
at the courthouse.
That is the funniest part. They're like, if they just follow the law, like they are following the law. You literally caught them, or that, or like you said, like at Home Depot. It's like these people. So these are the lazy ones, right? The ones that are mooching off the government that we spend so much money on healthcare and housing and shit. The ones that are working their ass off. Just the logic.
isn't it so sad how
Racism,
Mm-hmm.
blatant racism. It's reemerged. This is what happens when you have. I mean, that's how he wants.
we brought back racial profiling. Like they're literally saying if they look brownish, take them in. We can question them and do whatever. Like that's not how it's supposed to be. You're supposed to have a cause. Like they're supposed to be the first cause, not because they're brownish or whatever color. Like
isn't it insane that most of the peasants, or I say peasants because I like to call myself a peasant sometimes. It's one of the jokes. One of the jokes I used to make with my brothers. We're peasants, right?
Yeah.
Because we're poor, and so I say peasants like that, not to be rude or anything. But it's insane how people who are
maybe why.
I guess I wouldn't say contained or
I thought you told me about it.
it's a containment, but it is also a ladder in how we progress forward, right? Because the people who are challenged with these specific events that change their lives dramatically, well, that inspires them to make a change that they need to make. And when you're causing this specific disruption, well, for people who want to survive, they're gonna do anything. And for a system that's right now fragmenting and looking for integration, this is gonna push that past that limit because people who are getting sent home or getting sent back to Mexico or any other country, those are people that ran away from that
Hell yeah.
life. It's like they found a way in. So what makes you think
That's
that they're not
awesome.
going to find a way back? That's a way to build mentality, but it's the monster side of it, right? Because we don't want to think like that. We don't want to think about how beneficial doing something like that could be. It's like people who survived that trip back to fucking Mexico, and they find a way back. Guess what? That's a strong ass person. I want that in my country. So it's a dynamic where the more it happens, the more people get to find those holes. Right? It goes back to that Viktor Frankl a book that he wrote about finding those moments to live for. Right? And there's people that force their way through with disruption, but there's also people that make their way through the nooks and crannies, and they have a specific way of integrating it without causing disruption. Well, that's a system that they can utilize to restructure the way they're already handling the system, the containment that they have, right? The deportation process or the bringing in of immigration or immigrants. There's always a way to look at it where it can be improved. and not just looked at in a negative perspective. Because yeah, it hurts to see people have to be sent back, but I mean, at the end of the day, it's gonna help us. As long as we can get them back and they do it the right way, it's gonna help, right? But if they can get back, and I hope they do, until then,
Well,
it's
the problem
actually
is
allowing
the
us.
problem is you have an
to
8 year. It's an 8 year gap. It takes 8 years to
That's
come.
the point.
That's but
That just
that
means
is the
that
problem though. Like the crux of the position is it takes too long to come here legally. That's why they come here legally. If you had a better like that's the cure. And again, the cure is you need more judges, which costs more money. So nobody wants to do it because people go, we're spending more money, even though we just spent $5 trillion more. Nobody cared, but like they all claimed that they care, right? That's their whole fake idea. We don't want to spend more money, but yet that is the cure. Like hire like 3,000 more judges. Maybe now it takes a year to come here. You probably have more people coming here legally if it only took a year versus 8 years. Like that is, I feel like that's always the big issue, but nobody ever wants to fucking talk about like the real issue, like the real actual how to solve the problem. Because everyone's always like, you always bitch about things, you never try to solve them. Like I have things that you can solve. You just don't want to ever talk about them.
They don't. They don't want to do that because their conception is that they're rapists and murderers.
Yes, that's part of it
The
too.
whole party.
Yes, that's part of it too now.
you said
They
what?
don't want to
The
integrate.
what? The what in rapist?
They're rapists and
So
murderers. That's what
Trump's
Trump
whole
says.
stick
Yeah.
is they're rapists and murderers. They're eating the dogs. They're eating the dog. I can't do a Trump impression.
Yeah, they're eating the dogs, they're
Yeah,
eating the
I mean,
cats.
that's the MAGA party, and he's ran on that. That's how he got reelected because
Yeah.
racism is alive and well
True.
in America. Especially, of course, it is. We're the mixed culture, the cultural melting pot.
We're like honestly,
And
it's
there's going
funny.
to be a lot
It's
of
so
us who are
funny.
told us that
It's funny because
What it
America
is.
is the least racist country, and we're like sadly like, one of the most racist at the same time. It's that crazy duality where it's like, because like we're the melting pot. Like a lot of great things happen here, but we also have fucking just retards that just can't get over it.
What is racism?
Hatred
It is
or
this.
fear, hatred or fear of a person that looks different than you. That's what I would say.
Strip it down. Now let's strip it down all the way.
Yep, that's fine. Go on. What's the next
What is
question?
the fragmentation of racism? What is the underlying process?
It's fear.
I
Like I
think
said,
it's tribalism,
I think it is tribalism too. It's in-ground. They're not.
and
They're not a group.
that involves that outgrouping, the fear and the anger and hostility toward those of the outgroup.
Mhm.
There's a ton of neurochemistry on this too. There's a lot of good solid
I was
science.
just about to go that direction with this.
Yeah, man. That freaking insular cortex, the disgust response, the
Mhm.
insula is instantly triggered when you see somebody that looks a different race than you, somebody that you unconsciously deem as ugly or unattractive,
Mhm.
and somebody that you deem as overweight, if that's the case in your culture. In other cultures where being overweight is preferred, then that has the opposite effect, and you get more dopamine and the desire to pursue. Dopamine is the chemical of pursuit. And you also get the opposite when you find someone attractive and when you find somebody of the same race. So tons of studies on that. It shows, to me, we're inherently tribal, if not inherently racist.
Mhm.
We actually have this built into our genes, and of course we do. Look how strong this is. Look how powerful tribalism, in-grouping and out-grouping is. It involves pheromones too, but we have the studies on it. We have the neuroscience on it, and that means we need to try and do something about it that much more.
Mhm.
Because you can't just, we had the civil rights movement, and that had its moment, and now it's kind of fading in the background, and now we're having the LGBTQ movement, and that's starting to, and that's getting, so I did a little writing on this recently. It seems that these political movements have their moments, and they have major breakthroughs, and unfortunately they can fade out because it's like the new topic comes in, and that leaves it behind. And then you have the racism reemerging because now it's all the talk of the town is LGBTQ. So on.
Motion. It's the issue in motion. That's what I like to call those events. It's they're like stop signs on a highway. They either stop you in your path, or they warn you to slow down. Right. So there's moments like that in these interactions where the more of an impact it has, the more of a acceptance that needs to be made. Where they need to say, okay, this is a problem, and we really need to address it, right? The Black Lives Matter movement, or any of the other shit, the whole MAGA thing. Like those are specific dynamics or specific systems that regulate the morale of the people voting for that specific party, right? It's like, okay, who can we get a reaction out of? Who are we going to be able to uh, to put in a situation to help support the long term situation, right? Because look how many companies made money on Black Lives Matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how many people took advantage of that system? So it was more than just boosting morale. It boosted the economy. It boosted what's the other word for it?
It boosted the sales of the thing you buy.
Yeah. So every microsystem has an influence on the macro system, and vice versa. So there's always going to be a bigger system maintaining the smaller system that it's looking down upon. And a lot of times we don't see that dynamic because, well, it's out of our hands, it's out of our control. So yeah, I think we can only be aware of what we can be aware of, or what we can have control of. And if we can't have control of the situation, well, you put yourself in a situation to handle it, and to get to that specific, I guess, layer of understanding, or where you learn a specific skill set that allow you to manage that correctly. But yeah, I think it was.
There's a logical fallacy that I think you might find interesting, Carlos. It's called fish logic. I learned about this a couple years ago. So, it's Hindu. The original word is Matsya Nyaya, or Matsaya Nyaya. It means a situation where a small fish, a small truth, is swallowed by a larger fish, which is a falsehood. So the larger falsehood is taking over a smaller truth, and they're not mutually affording. One is victim to the other. Smaller truth is being smothered by the larger falsehood.
Yeah, it's paradoxical. Yeah, that whole thing is paradoxical. They actually can exist in a duality as well. It depends on the perspective.
Yeah, I see it. I try to apply that to politics and apply that to different situations. That's a really interesting one.
I kill kids on Xbox.
That's my buddy, Eric, the bike man.
Yep.
What's up, guys?
What's happening, my brother?
Just smoking a bowl real quick before I go to bed.
Hell yeah. Sounds like a good day.
Yeah.
Good nightcap. Yeah,
Check it
it's like a lot of things in life, though. In general, people just got to learn to find the balance. Like I said, you just can't be so extreme on any kind of like thought process, view, or whatever the fuck. Like, you have to be fluid and able to change and adapt with new, better information, with different, just even like viewpoints. Like I said, like, you might not understand what the person in the ghetto is living through, right? So you don't have like that empathy, that care for them. Like, even though people can tell you about it, but you haven't lived it or understand it. But like, we need to get better at trying to understand people without having to go through. Like, that'd be the best way, obviously. But like, we just need to have more of that. We need more empathy, more just like caring about our fellow person. Yeah, we do. Yeah, you tell them, Mama.
Well, how can we even do something like that? Because it's like you can't teach someone how to go through that, because, well,
I know that's
the precision is within the emotions, right? Because the thing with the ghetto, these people, they don't care about logical precision of things.
Not at all. Not at this point.
Their mindset is driven by the stability of their internal system. If they can't gain control of something, well, they're gonna force it, and logic isn't gonna stabilize that dynamic. Emotions are. It's like you either become a fucking bull or you get ran over, and so it's like I wrote it in a poem. I don't know if you guys have read it or not, but there's a specific dynamic where if the person who's causing the disruption, it's overwhelming the stability of the infrastructure, well, there needs to be someone to prevent that from collapsing the system. So you need to become that person to be in that specific position to make those changes. Right? Because if you don't, well, then you're gonna just sit here complaining about whether the system changes. It's like there's people that they will literally do anything and everything in their life to make sure that this change happens.
Sure.
Well,
Think about how many like former athletes or former whatever have donated a lot of money to their fucking former communities, or like this guy that played NBA basketball from Minnesota, like he's built like a lot of fucking single houses for homeless people and shit. Like like there are a lot of people that do good, but the thing is, it's only like one or two people that are rich that are doing it, right? They can only do so good, right? We need a community. We need a bunch of people to do these things if we want to actually change like the actual system. Like we have individual good actors doing things, but never the masses of people. Well, not sometimes we get masses of people do stuff like Katrina and like this last hurricane or storm and shit. Like when that happens, people do. But like in general, like we just don't do that for the small everyday person. Not enough.
people live in fear. Accumulation is everything. You get enough people who know what they're doing, who know what they're doing, and that allows the system be integrated to minimize that emotional tension that they're feeling from making a move in the first place. Like when you group yourself with people who want to move forward, or that just it gives the result more motion, right? It'll take over eventually. Just more accumulation need to happen. Yeah, more accumulation of minds need to happen. Where it may not happen as fast as you want it the first time, but you got to understand what you're up against.
Mm-hmm.
It's difficult to do something by yourself. I mean, unless you're
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
a genius, you poke the weakness in the infrastructure. But I mean, a lot of people don't want to have that mentality either. It's difficult to get up to that specific mentality to do that. You need to be badass. You need to disregard human emotions sometimes, and that's a shift that nobody wants to see.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the biggest issues I have. Not wanting to disregard people's emotions, but that's the reality of it. As long as you want to be good enough to keep the morale of the people happy, but you also want to be intense enough to keep the people in check. That's difficult.
Yeah.
I think that's where positive disintegration comes through.
I have to look into that more.
Yeah, I think you'll like it. Yeah, I'll text you about something else. So I was gonna text you about something, but it just reminded me of it.
You become disintegrated.
And this is what we do when we isolate, disintegrate.
Yeah. It's I always say it's the me versus we. We gotta stop being so me's.
And I think another good one is see, make sure I get this right.
Well, so what is positive disintegration then? Because that sounded like it was negative.
No, it's the disintegration, right? You're disintegrating a system, but instead of it being a negative result, you're turning trash into gold, right? You're taking the substance, the core, the positive substance of the collapse, and you're turning it into something positive, something healthy. It's a lifestyle of you reinforcing disintegration into productivity, and there's different stages of it. So every stage in the process is different. So it's not necessarily different. It's a fractal representation of each stage, but the infrastructure of each section it's repeated. It's a repetition. It's just at a different intensity. So every stage is for a specific part of the disintegration. A little bit
Can you
heavier
give
than
an
the other.
example?
Okay. So, first stage, for instance. So let's say you're going through a specific situation, right? You walked outside
Sure.
and you see a piece of gum. Huh?
Oh, sorry, never mind.
So you go outside, you step on a piece of gum, or you keep walking, you don't notice that it's there. Well, you end up coming home and you realize now you got gum on your carpet. Or how are you gonna handle it? You can sit there and be pissed off at the gum, or that you can be pissed off at yourself that you didn't watch where you're stepping. Right? There's a bunch of different dynamics within that event and specific interaction in the beginning that can be followed up by negative interaction. Right? So you can sit there and wallow in self
Interaction.
pity. You can rebel against the gum company for making gum to begin with, or
Okay.
or you can throw away your freaking sneaker because well it has gum on it. Right? Those are all extremes of something that can be handled in a more positive way. So positive disintegration is taking that fragmentation, taking that collapse, and deciding, well, okay, this happened. Maybe I could be a little bit more aware next time. That's a
That
micro
sounds like
moment.
it's mindfulness. So that's okay. So I
So
don't mean to
positive
say
disintegration
this
is
is
it's the containment of that process. So when you
I
say
got you.
mindfulness, that's a part of it. That's not all of it. So I'm just summarizing right now. So that's just the overall motion uh, of that. So yeah, mindfulness is I would say
You said you have to have the awareness to do that, and this is where I get into the determinism. And say you have to be taught those skills in the first place. You got to be taught mindfulness and awareness, uh, so that you can know how to integrate, disintegrate, and reintegrate. I guess.
sure, but that doesn't teach you how to experience the interaction. It's like it doesn't teach you to deal with the variables, right? So there has to be a balance between that. It's like positive disintegration isn't only how you deal with the problem, is how you process the emotions. It's a integrated process between expanding, right, sitting within your own disintegration, and then understanding when there's a need for compression, logical compression, meaning hey, this fragmentation, this consumption of negative and positive interactions that you're having, it has to be better integrated because well you're either going to collapse due to an abundance of interactions just overwhelming your internal system, or vice versa, where it's overwhelming your external system. So
Right.
yeah, there needs to be it's a process to it. So yeah, you have a compression process and an expansion process, sort of like the way a heartbeat expands and restricts, right? It's a pump. It's a universal rhythm. So all has to align with that.
I think this it could also be called positive reintegration, then, or just reintegration. You wouldn't have to say the positive part, but I also think of cognitive reframing. What you're describing sounds a lot like what CBT calls cognitive reframing or cognitive remodeling, which is a process. And I think the way you're thinking of mindfulness is the initial awareness. You need to be mindful of these things so that in these experiences, so you can begin the process of reintegration or cognitive reframing. That's kind of how I think about it too.
Yeah, mindfulness is just the awareness of it. It isn't the experience. It's like meta awareness to normal awareness. It's not
Yeah, the way
necessarily
that
yeah.
like I
So
was taught it kind of as the opposite of mindlessness, where and that's kind of a play on words, but there is a real definition of mindlessness too. You're at a loss for being mindful throughout that whole process. and you have to sustain that. I mean, we can get into debates whether one of these is more, one of these precedes the other, whatever. I mean, you have to be aware and mindful throughout the whole process of reintegration, I guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe
definitely.
it becomes more automatic, and you have to you use your mind and mindfulness to trigger the cognitive reframing that you do. That's based more on practice and happens more instinctually after long practice. But it certainly has to be involved.
Experience. Yeah, I mean, interaction is interaction. It doesn't matter if it was practice or experience. At the
And it
end of the day,
requires energy. Yeah, that's a big point too. If you're trying to expand on this idea, it's always going to require metabolic energy. So you can practice the reframing and the reintegration process so that it becomes instinctual, like I was describing. And I've gotten better at that myself over the years, especially when it comes to rejection and other social situations where I have really well practiced responses. When it comes to reflecting at home when I'm home alone, that part of that is also well practiced and requires less energy. But I think it's a safe bet to tell people in general that you have to be ready to put that energy into it. Because what do you see a lot? Well, what's floating around on social media, at least, and in the public, is people saying, I'm tired of putting the energy into managing my brain. I'm tired of putting this effort into this. It is not fair that I should have to put all this energy into managing this shoddy brain that nature gave me. And but that's the answer is always going to be you have to put energy and effort into it, because the more energy and effort, the better results. Once that starts to fade, that's when you get the diagnostic defaulting, or just defaulting to whatever your bias is, defaulting to whatever previous models that your brain's been working on, because that's what your brain's going to do. Or it's going to slip into massive depression and chaos, and something terrible will happen. So, but usually the brain will default to whatever previous safety nets or mental map it was occupying previously, once you let that attention and energy slip. And that can be just 1 second of your cognitive reframing and reintegration process, where you let that energy slip, and then you default into an excuse or an ideology or something that is a previous paradigm that your brain is comfortable in, and that it's like the metaphor of the snow. Yeah, it is really is like this. So Michael Pollan, he experimented with psychedelics just to see what people were talking about, and he came up with this metaphor of when you go to do therapy under psychedelic experiences, or when you're trying to do personal work, it's like setting a new fresh patch of snow on a hillside where you have sleds that have gone down it and they have all these trails, and then you get a new fresh snow. So it doesn't eliminate those paths. You still go down the path, but it's easier for you to kind of nudge out of it and start a new path.
yes, perfect.
I think that's exactly how that feels for me when I had the psychedelic breakthroughs that I did. So without the psychedelics, that's going to take a shit ton of energy. That's going to take a shit ton of focus. You're doing it yourself. You're not getting the external chemical upregulation of the serotonin 5-H2A molecule, which allows all these regions of the brain to talk to each other that normally don't, which affords those breakthrough moments. You got to make the breakthrough moment yourself, and you have to push and put energy into it.
Yep. Everybody has that asynchrony development. We just have it differently. You know, people who are exposed to that chaos, the dissonance. Well, how does that show up in the brain? The amygdala. Yeah, the amygdala is undersized, or no, that's not the right word. Is shrunken. I don't know what to call that process.
Minimized?
Huh?
Minimized? Maybe that's a better word.
Well, I guess it will be prioritized, because when people go through chaos, right? It's an indicator of threat, right? So you're in your fight. What do you call those responses? What is categorized as? Fight, flight.
Fight or flight.
Fight, flight, freeze, and fawn.
Yeah. So what's that categorized as?
The sympathetic nervous system responses,
Nervous system responses.
specifically the sympathetic, and then you parry that with the parasympathetic.
Yeah, there we go. Okay.
It's your autonomic nervous system in
There
total.
you go.
Both of those processes become
That's
automatic,
what I was trying to remember
but
earlier.
you're parasympathetic. So ideally, you put that energy and focus into developing a better parasympathetic nervous system cognitively, and then part of that you also have to grin and bear it through the cold showers and the external physical conditioning that you're doing to set it so that you naturally parry those sympathetic responses. That's a play on words. It's not named parry or parasympathetic because of parry, but that's how I like to think of it. And then eventually that gets integrated. Dude, it works so well too. It works for my Crohn's disease, works for mental clarity, specifically the cold showers.
So that actually works perfect. So that's recursion right there. What you just explained to me, with your Crohn's with the What's the first one again? The S one? Sarah. What is it?
The sympathetic nervous system is sympathetic to the world. It reacts to the world. That's kind of really generalizing, but
It's just so I can remember when I'm talking.
Typically,
so
that's the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn.
So which one is first? Which comes first?
Oh yeah. So this is where the whole thing is the autonomic nervous system, and that contains.
That's the underlying system. I look at that as the underlying system. It's the mechanisms beneath the surface. So when you look at para and sympathetic nervous system, there's a specific dynamic to it. So which one is introduced into external stimuli first? Is it the sympathetic system?
When you say introduced into external stimuli, what do you mean by that?
So chaos is only introduced through specific frequencies. Those frequencies are regulated by our five senses. Our internal system only allow us to hear, smell, taste, see what we're capable of seeing, right? So usually when the external stimuli is considered a threat or below the threshold of what our internal systems pick up, well, there's a specific system that comes on first in each dynamic. So sympathetic nervous system comes on due to what? What triggers?
Right. So that would be.
I just need a couple words. Because I remember it, but I can't bring it on for the words. I can't recall it at the moment.
Well, I think I need to describe this again or differently. So the autonomic nervous system involves both the parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems, from what we understand in biology. So what you're trying to do by training your parasympathetic nervous system as much as you can consciously be involved in that process is making it such that your parasympathetic system activates either instead of the sympathetic or after the sympathetic to become more autonomic, to become more automatic. But that takes training. So, for instance, the sympathetic nervous system is trained by these mental models and the cognitive reframing and all that, but also through the cold showers and sauna, hot sauna. Specifically, I mean, that's a great one because you're throwing your body into an extreme situation physically from head to toe. It feels extremely uncomfortable, but you're safe. You're not actually at risk, but you're training your autonomic nervous system, your automatic responses to be more comfortable in that uncomfortable situation. That's why it's such a useful exercise. So does that make sense? So your sympathetic nervous system comes up. It says, "Oh shit, it's cold," and then the parasympathetic's like, "Oh, makes sense." So your sympathetic nervous system comes up. It says, "Oh shit, it's cold," and then the parasympathetic's like, "Oh no, wait, yeah, but we know what to do in cold climates. We don't start shivering. We start bringing more energy online, so the organism can start to focus and get out of the situation."
Yeah, no, I get. Trying to get the answer fast. The explanation I already knew all of it, but yeah, I like how you integrated it to a specific way of saying it. But yeah, I'm familiar with the terminology. The reason I was telling you to answer it in a specific way, precise, so that I can make a connection I wanted to tell you about.
Right.
So
I wasn't sure I could answer without saying that. Yeah.
and it's because it's you don't want to be misunderstood. Because if you jump ahead, you're you don't know what the interaction is going to be like. So I want you to full blast every. It doesn't matter if you think I know it or not. I promise you I will.
Oh, I
Because
just thought we were approaching.
no, I'm not saying that it's an issue. I'm just saying like for you when you're trying to be precise in a specific way, like you question whether I understood it, and it's like I did understand it from the very beginning, but you went into an explanation because of the I don't want to say it's fear of being misunderstood. You know, maybe it is, but
No, I thought
uh,
you were just. I thought you misunderstood it, and I was trying to
oh
clarify.
no, yeah, I understand it very well. I was just looking for a specific word I couldn't bring online.
That's as
Yeah,
far
but
as I understand. That's how it works. Like, I think the idea is to make both the sympathetic and parasympathetic more autonomic or more automatic. And
Yeah.
so what we're seeing in today's problems is that in Western psychology, at least, is that it's too much of a burden to do that, and also people don't have time. People don't have the time and energy to do all that cold shower stuff. They just want to get off work, make a quick
people have
dinner,
time.
and play with their kids.
People have time. They just don't like the fucking shit. They don't like the tolerance. It's, fuck. Sometimes it's like I say the word and then it goes offline and I can't remember
Mm.
what the fucking definition is for that word. So I don't know if I'm saying it right. Um, what was I just saying?
I don't know. He brought up Western, Eastern, different types of thinking, and then
There's Western psychology where we don't want to put the energy into honing our parasympathetic nervous
Yeah,
system.
the tolerance. Tolerance. Like they don't want to. That whole it fucking it weighs a lot internally, right? There's a lot of
Right.
internal tension in that, and well, people don't want to. They don't want to follow a strict routine because, well, being in routine threatens their ability to be free, right? And those are the people that are in that chaotic space all the time where they want that thrill. It's the same sort of dynamic where um, you're you're gonna want that, and my brain is shot right now. It's like you know what it is when I'm speaking. Usually, when I'm in a conversation, I'm listening, and when I'm listening, I'm letting my mind go everywhere. So it's reaching out and connecting to these different areas. Well, when I'm speaking, a lot of times what's happening is I'll speak, and there's a specific echo. So it's almost like I'm picking up my own voice, and it's being interpreted in the background, and it's fragmented into specific areas. So when I'm talking, a lot of times my mind goes into that one specific branch that I'm thinking about, and it gets stuck there because I'm more intrigued by what I'm thinking about than what I'm actually saying. And yeah, so that's what happens when I'm speaking to you guys about this. Like I have an idea that I'm trying to jot down and make connections, and it distracts me from what I'm trying to say to you guys.
I feel that.
You got your pen and paper. There's some I can probably help you with that in private too, man. There's some techniques that I've learned from the central language processing disorder states that I could probably help you out with that one. I mean, there are some meditations too that would definitely help with that as well. It reminds me of what happens to me when I smoke weed, especially because my mind goes everywhere too, and I'll have a tangent and then I'll pursue it. Yeah, I mean,
It shit gives me insomnia.
yeah, man, that's probably it. That's probably it too, because it'll make your mind go a mile a minute, and then you have amazing ideas, and you don't want to lose. Part of your brain doesn't want to lose those ideas, so it holds on to them and keeps them at the forefront of your consciousness. And you have multiple branches where you can go to, and so this is not productive. That's not a state that you want. Okay, now I'm sounding judgmental, but and also like a meditation guy. So
I promise your words are never gonna because
Right.
again I don't look at
understand.
your words. I don't listen for your words.
Yeah.
So you
well,
can talk.
I guess what I mean, like this is how a lot of Vipassana meditation instructors will talk about it. So you want to have as much control over your mind as possible. That one's obvious, but we want to listen, not to respond, but listen to the entire statement and then bring our thoughts together and have them accumulate in a fashion that is pragmatic and fluid and coherent. And that takes practice, and it takes a lot of different exposures and different techniques that you can learn to do that. So what helped me with this was the metaphors and the frameworks that were given in various lessons. One of them is to sit with a hot cup of tea until it cools, and then you respond. Or hold the hot tea in your hand and let it cool.
5 seconds. I'm like, what do you say?
Yeah.
A lot of
There
times-
are things like that where it can help to reflect on those kind of metaphors. And if you get reminded of them in the moment, then it kind of brings that.
I'm curious about this with you guys because aside from what I just told you guys that I do, so after this discussion, I would play our whole conversation in my head after.
Yeah, that's what I usually do.
depends
Our
on
whole
it depends
conversation-
on it depends on like the topics and stuff. Like certain conversations, I'll talk about it for the next day or so with people. Like not names or nothing. I'm like, think about this, and I'm like, if I put you in this situation, what would your answer be? And ask other people, try to get other people's perspective on our conversations. Because everybody has
Yeah.
a different answer.
Well, that made me think of something. Because I'm thinking about the reason that I'm doing that to begin. Well, I thought about it before, but the way you responded to it, where was a different result than what I was expecting, and not necessarily from you, but from what I had.
No, I got you in general.
So there's a specific. No, I'm shot. I'm shot right now. I already know I'm tired. I'm 100% sure that's why it's
That's
happening.
all right, brother.
Yeah.
No, because these are good ideas, and I want to be able to just tell them, have someone anchor them for me, so I can continue, and then boom, rewrap it again. Oh, anyway, there you go. I remembered. Got it triggered.
Yep.
It's a
All right,
refresh.
so, yeah, it's in the recursion. So what I do is, how when I was speaking, I would disconnect. Oh, going back to what I was telling you guys about me thinking about the thought process. Well, there's a specific recursion in that where it's almost like your system's reevaluating the experience of the day, right? So you do that long enough, well, that's a restructuring process. Is, hey, I consumed a lot of interactions that were both positive and negative, and you're organized that emotional tension into structural integrations, positive disintegration essentially, and then you have a fractal representation of that where it's not necessarily the result that I was expecting, where after I have a conversation with you guys and we stop talking, I'm in a room, I would recycle information over and over and over and over, like repetitively. And it's because these interactions that I'm having with you guys, they're not purely intellectual. For me, they're emotional because where a lot of people share information and they're like, oh, whoa, we're just sharing information. We're having a conversation. For me, this is the equivalent of emotional intimacy.
That's cool.
Because me having an intellectual conversation with you guys, that's, for me, it's a lot deeper than that. Because, well, I don't do that with a lot of people.
Yeah.
So there's a specific response. It has a specific result where you can get what we were talking about. But you also have the result that you were talking about. So there's a variation to it. It all depends on the underlying dynamic to it and what leads to
sure.
the result.
Yeah, like I said, there's a lot of variables because, like I said, it depends on because when we talk about philosophy, I try to take the metaphors and stuff we talk about, and I try to ask people about them, just to see how they respond. Or like I said, if we're having more of a confrontational debate style shit, then I just fucking argue about or talk to people like, dude, this is what this person said. Do you think this is true? What? You think it's true too? Why? And then I get back to my argumentative fucking state, or I fucking chill out. You know, just it's funny how it goes sometimes.
Yeah.
There are ways to remember what you want to say when somebody is speaking that can help as well concerning embodied cognition. So you can assign one of your ideas to one of your fingers on your hand.
Hmm.
You can have 5 ideas on one hand.
Mm-hmm.
You can hold them there. Sometimes if you push your finger down on the table, that acts to retain that in a really interesting, weird way. It's like you're storing that idea there. And you can use letters too. So sometimes I'll do that. Like I'll start, or I'll use one, like for me with the, the defaulting to specific language, I'll usually have a concept that I want to respond with that I tie to one specific word, and then I'll push that to one of my fingers, or I'll just push it to one corner of my mind, usually, and then I'll hold that in place. But then I'll immediately bring my attention back to what the person's saying, and then I'll have another idea, and I'll store that somewhere as quickly as possible, and then immediately return my attention to what they're saying.
If I get into it, I try to just write notes. Like if I'm on the computer or if I'm whatever, I try to write a couple of words like this. At least I'll remember that's the thing I need to go back to or whatever.
Yeah, if you can do that, that also helps. You have the opportunity.
Yeah, you're minimizing cognitive overload. It's what you're doing.
Well, yeah, because sometimes, like you're saying though, if you have a great thought on a specific topic, but let's say you go on like a 4 or 5 minute tangent, you might go through like 8 different topics. Well, now I just fucking lost my whole train of thought.
Well, I do that, and that's the problem. It's me. I notice I do that with you guys, and I'm like, fuck, I went too far.
It's all right to me.
It's like,
bro, I guarantee the Adderall is not going to help with that. Guarantee that's going to make it worse.
It's not. And that's the thing. No, when I'm off the Adderall, and like I'm not having the after effect of being off of the Adderall, I feel good. I can talk without stumbling my words, and but it's it helps though. It does.
For sure.
There's specific things where I can do shit, and it doesn't even. I don't even hesitate in the slightest. Normally, I would, but I can see the micro adjustments, the micro improvements. But it's like I don't know how long I can do this shit.
Shotgun. You can feel the effects of the fact that it is a shotgun approach. I've noticed that the side effects with every medication I've taken. It's very, including Crohn's medications. Actually, that's not worth it to me anymore. I guess the motivation. Once you learn techniques to self-motivate, I don't think it really helps anymore because you just do it. You just will yourself to do it. But a lot of times the techniques involve having a strong meaning structure and a strong goal set.
Definitely. Yeah, it's the lack of containment. Because if you can go to work, have a good day, productive, or you're maximizing output, and you have a smooth transition to when you come home, well, your nervous system it starts to stabilize because you get to home, you get to your home that's safe and it's comfort. What you it's comfort, right? So there's supposed to be a specific transition there, but looking at that, how often does that actually happen? It's usually like one to the other or the other to the other. So it's personal to home or work to home. Have that specific dynamic, that check valve. Check valve. Come on, guys, I need you.
I think
you guys stay with me.
I'm saying like comfort and safety. That's important. I feel like because that's what everybody yearns for.
We're talking about nervous system.
On the nervous system.
Yeah, Patrick, what were you saying before?
What was it saying? What are you talking about?
Before I started talking, you said something. It's what I was trying to reroute or loop back to what you were saying.
Well, so most recently I was talking about there's probably a term like offloading, but using embodied cognition and the fact that your brain is your body, and so you can send ideas to different regions of your brain as holders to keep them memory, and also you can use language. For me, I use terminology. I'll have one word that is a specific term that relates directly to what I want to respond with, and then I immediately redirect my attention back to what the person's saying. Although sometimes it's more fluid. Like I don't. It's not like I 100% stop listening for a split second to store that and then bring it back online 100%. It's usually fluid. Like I'm always listening throughout the entire process. I just basically instantly move that thought and that idea, or I immediately assign that entire thought and conception to a particular word, and then move that word to part of my brain to respond with later. Usually, I can do that with 3 or 4 items, sometimes 5 for ideas.
The systems
Before
thinking.
that, we were talking about the autonomic nervous system and sympathetic previously, or that's what we were talking about before that.
Yeah. That's systems thinking. We just explained. You're a systems thinker.
I'll take one.
Yes,
I'll let
yeah,
one
that's the.
I'll try to.
When I hear people use the term systems thinker, I think David Shapiro and global systems and interacting.
Yeah, I do the same shit. Yeah,
Yeah.
I do the same shit, but on a macro. Well, I do both, micro and macro scale. That's why a lot of times when I'm asking you guys to say a specific word or say a sentence, it's to trigger specific thoughts.
Yeah, the next
It's
thought.
like you guys have the key to the door I'm trying to open. So I'm trying to use you guys as the
I
key.
feel that.
Word. Let us all be keys to unlock doors in each other's psyches.
True.
Oh, I mean, you learn how to open the key over time, right? Over exposure. It's like the more I'm in conversations like this, the easier it's going to be for me to recall information. Remember, I'm giving
Yeah.
myself a now. That's it. Once that loop reintegrates, reintegrates in a positive way. That way, it closes the loop. I mean, I'll be able to show you guys exactly what my brain is going through at the moment.
Right. I feel like that's how it is for a lot of people, though.
Yeah, it's a
Like-
recursion. It's a recursion. Recursion layers.
Well,
So,
this
you
from
see a lot of
my
people-
brain is going through tiredness.
Yeah, it's 113. I think I'm ready for it.
Yeah, I got you.
Are we gonna
brothers.
call it?
Yeah, we can be good.
Yeah, I guess I don't know if we were all just being nice and not wanting to end the conversation, but yeah, I think it's good to call it
It's all good, brothers. It was always a good chat.
for sure.
Ooh.
Yep. Much so, bro.
Always,
You guys
guys.
have a safe week. Safe week.
All right, you too, brothers. Peace
Yeah.
out.
Bye.
Hell yeah. Alright, just gotta finish this shit up. Actually, I don't even have to. I can do this later. Alright. Close this bitch. Alright, peace out, mother.